Chapter 2639. From now on, I will explain the essence of sacred arrays to you. After explaining the reason for taking him in as a disciple, Huang Gang stopped chatting and began to guide Mo Qingyun on arrays. Seeing that Huang Gang had begun to guide him on arrays, Mo Qingyun immediately focused and listened seriously. Huang Gang was worthy of being a 5th-level sacred array master. His understanding and analysis of sacred arrays were very thorough and direct. Under Huang Gang's guidance, Mo Qingyun was suddenly enlightened and his understanding of sacred arrays increased rapidly. Many of the questions that he didn't understand were all answered at this moment. The fusion group was able to deduce many things from one example. Of course, Mo Qingyun being able to have such an improvement was also related to him taking Rinjun as a star general. With the help of the Heavenly Soul Demon Race's talent, Mo Qingyun could use Rinjun's array skills when he took him as a star general. However, Mo Qingyun's array skills were too shallow and he was very inexperienced in using them. At this moment, after hearing Huang Gang's guidance, he naturally improved by leaps and bounds. Of course, Mo Qingyun wouldn't say anything about this. Under Huang Gang's guidance, a few days passed in the blink of an eye. I didn't expect this little guy's array skills to have reached such a level. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Huang Gang nodded in gratification and was even more satisfied with Mo Qingyun. He thought to himself, with his array skills, as long as he slowly accumulates and studies, it won't be difficult for him to become a 6th-level sacred array master. It seems that the Heavenly Bull Divine sect is about to regain its glory. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, when Huang Gang was guiding Mo Qingyun, a loud noise came from outside. Hearing this loud noise, Mo Qingyun and Huang Gang's expressions shook as shock emerged in their eyes. Someone was attacking the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Stay here, I'll go out and take a look. Noticing the movement of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, Huang Gang instructed Mo Qingyun and walked out of the array building. Mo Qingyun shook his head at Huang Gang's instruction and said, "No, I'll go out and take a look too. If I'm not wrong, those people might be coming for me. Then let's go together." Huang Gang didn't refuse Mo Qingyun's request and left Junlo with him. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and Li Qia left Junlo and looked at the sky above the sect. At this moment, a group of people stood in the sky above the Lone Bull Mountain sect, emitting a terrifying aura. Those fellows from the Divine Wood Imperial family are getting more and more arrogant. Huang Gang's face darkened as he swept his gaze across the crowd in midair. He then spoke furiously. Hearing Huang Gang's words, Mo Qingyun's eyes turned cold, producing an intense killing intent. The strength displayed by the Divine Wood Imperial family brought him tremendous pressure. There were actually 5 half-step universe-grade powerhouses in the Sacred Wood Royal family. These 5 people all had spatial energy fluctuations on their bodies. It was clear that they had all comprehended spatial laws. If it's possible, it's best to take this opportunity to kill all of them. Mo Qingyun knew very well that he wouldn't be able to deal with the Divine Wood Royal family before comprehending spatial laws. While Mo Qingyun was pondering this, Jiang Mu and the others were flying rapidly in midair. It seemed like the other spies of the Lone Bull Divine sect had taken advantage of the chaos to rescue them. "Greetings, Marquis Wang Kai." When they arrived in front of the Divine Wood Royal family, Jiang Mu and the others bowed respectfully before a middle-aged man in a python robe. Not long after Jiang Mu and the others flew into midair, Zhang Ji and the others, who were guarding the prison, chased after them. Zhang Ji and the others looked disheveled. They had probably been ambushed. When Zhang Ji and the others saw Mo Qingyun, they converged on him with angry expressions. Zhang Ji's aura was very weak. It seemed like he had been ambushed and injured. "Commander Zhang Ji, are you injured?" Sensing Zhang Ji's aura, Mo Qingyun revealed a concerned expression and asked about his situation. Mo Qingyun added, "Previously, I reminded Elder Tai Balong to tell you to increase your defenses. How did they succeed?" Sigh. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Zhang Ji immediately sighed. He had a bitter feeling that he couldn't speak of. While Zhang Ji was sighing, Deputy Commander Huang's face darkened as he explained to Mo Qingyun, "We received your reminder and immediately sent more people to guard the prison. However, we didn't expect that those guys would disguise themselves as prisoners and sneak into the prison unknowingly." After listening to Deputy Commander Huang's explanation, Mo Qingyun had a rough idea of the situation. If nothing went wrong, those people would first disguise themselves as prisoners and be captured. Then, they would work together to ambush Zhang Ji and the others. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, the hidden experts of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect came out of seclusion one after another. Hall Master Hua, who Mo Qingyun had some impression of, was standing above a large hall with an old man with long eyebrows. "Old friends, are you all well?" Marquis Wang Kai of the Divine Wood royal family smiled hypocritically when he saw Hall Master Hua and the others appear. Hall Master Hua was the first to speak when he heard Wang Kai's words. He said coldly, "The Divine Wood Emperor doesn't care about us. We can still spend our old age peacefully." "Old Hua, you're making things difficult for us by saying this." Wang Kai didn't care about Hall Master Hua's sarcastic words as he teased with a faint smile. After chatting with the crowd for a while, Wang Kai's expression turned cold as he said in a deep voice, "I didn't come to the Heavenly Bull Divine sect with any ill intentions. I just want to ask for a person. I hope that you won't make things difficult for me." The disciples of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect immediately whispered when they heard Wang Kai's words. "May I know who the Marquis wants?" Hall Master Hua wasn't afraid of Wang Kai's unyielding attitude as he asked calmly. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard Hall Master Hua's words. He looked at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, "The person I want is the inner disciple of your sect, Mo Qingyun." Whoosh! Wang Kai's words immediately set off an uproar in the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. What? The Marquis Wang Kai came personally to capture Mo Qingyun? Mo Qingyun is dead for sure this time. Even the sect master can't protect him when faced with such a lineup. This Mo Qingyun is arrogant and despotic, causing trouble. He's finally going to suffer. Those who had a grudge against Mo Qingyun were gloating over his misfortune. Compared to some people who were gloating, Zhang Ji and the others had grave expressions when they heard this. They didn't know if Guang Ping would choose to compromise when faced with such a situation. Could it be that we're going to leave just like this? We still haven't gotten the 100-million-year-old flame crystal? Mo Qingyun hadn't received the test reward during the past few days of learning array formations. Hence, he hadn't gotten the 100-million-year-old flame crystal. Hence, he could only choose to give up the 100-million-year-old flame crystal in order to avoid the pursuit of the Divine Wood royal family. However, he would suffer a great loss if he couldn't get the 100-million-year-old flame crystal because of this matter. Huang Gang and the others were dumbfounded when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 2640. Qingyun, I think we should consider how to deal with Wang Kai and the rest. Due to his relationship with Mo Qingyun, Tai Balong decided to remind Mo Qingyun. Hearing Tai Balong's words, Mo Qingyun smiled. As long as the Heavenly Bull Divine sect doesn't abandon me, why would I be afraid of Wang Kai and the rest? No matter how strong their lineup is, can they behave atrociously in the Heavenly Bull Divine sect? Mo Qingyun's reply stunned Huang Gang and the rest as they looked at each other. It turned out that Mo Qingyun was worried about whether the Heavenly Bull Divine sect would abandon him. However, he was right. If the Heavenly Bull Divine sect really wanted to protect him, Wang Kai and the rest wouldn't be able to do anything. Good, well said. After a brief moment of shock, Huang Gang laughed and praised Mo Qingyun. Wang Kai and the rest are strong, but the Heavenly Bull Divine sect isn't a pushover. We haven't fallen to the point where people would behave atrociously in front of our sect. Hearing Huang Gang's words, the disciples of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect revealed a resolute expression. Handing over Mo Chingyun was a small matter, but handing over Mo Chingyun meant that the Heavenly Bull Divine sect had bowed their heads. This way, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect would have to obediently obey the Divine Wood royal family every time they came. In the long run, the disciples' sense of belonging to the sect would be greatly affected. A sect that didn't give people a sense of belonging wouldn't exist for long. Sect Master, this is the territory of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. There's no need to act according to others' wishes. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Huang Gang turned to Guang Ping and gave his suggestion. Hearing Huang Gang's words, Guang Ping immediately understood and made a decision in his heart. He absolutely couldn't hand over Mo Chingyun. Marquis Wang Kai, we will not hand over Mo Chingyun. You should return. Looking at Wang Kai, who was in the air, Guang Ping was fearless and gave him a definite answer. Seeing Guang Ping's reaction, Wang Kai's face darkened as he said in a cold tone, Sect Master Guang Ping, it doesn't seem wise to let all the disciples of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect suffer because of an inner disciple. There are no cowardly disciples in my Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Guang Ping glanced at his disciples and gave Wang Kai an answer. His attitude was still firm. After replying to Wang Kai, Guang Ping's expression became colder. He said in a threatening tone, Of course, if Marquis Wang Kai insists on using force, we don't mind going to the Divine Wood Imperial family. I believe that the Divine Wood Imperial family would welcome us. Good. Master Guangping, you are a good master. Hearing Guang Ping's threat, Wang Kai was so angry that his face turned ashen. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he furiously said, This old master wants to see how you will stop us. At Wang Kai's words, Jiang Mu's expression changed and he hurriedly said, Marquis, this subordinate has a suggestion, but I don't know if I should say it. Tell me about it. Hearing Jiang Mu's interruption, Wang Kai curiously nodded his head. Under Wang Kai's tacit approval, Jiang Mu revealed an evil smile as he glanced at the cold-faced young man at the side and said, The strength of the Divine Longhorn sect isn't weak. If we were to fight them head-on, it would only end with both sides suffering heavy losses. It isn't worth it for Mo Chingyun. Hearing that, Wang Kai and the others nodded their heads. They felt that Jiang Mu was right. Dealing with Mo Chingyun was only a matter of convenience. Their main goal was to take down the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. While taking control of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, they could also deal with Mo Chingyun. This couldn't be any better. But who knew that the Heavenly Bull Divine sect would be a tough bone and insist on fighting them to the death? The younger generation of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect has mediocre talent. I feel that we can have a battle. Under the gazes of Wang Kai and the others, Jiang Mu glanced at the cold-faced youth and said, Young Master Ling Xian is known as the unparalleled Divine Wood Imperial family along with Lu Gongming. If he participates in the battle, he will definitely be able to sweep through the disciples of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Aside from that, we still have some hidden chess pieces that we can use later. Since that's the case, we'll do as you say. Hearing Jiang Mu's suggestion, Wang Kai nodded his head in satisfaction. Shortly after, Wang Kai looked at Guang Ping and said with a dark expression, Sect Master Guang Ping, how about we have a battle to decide if we should hand over Mo Chingyun? Hearing Wang Kai's words, Guang Ping's expression changed as he turned his head to look at Huang Gang and the others. Seeing Guang Ping looking at them, Huang Gang and the others began to discuss whether they should accept Wang Kai's suggestion. Wang Kai is a tyrannical person. If we don't agree, he will definitely attack the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Don't tell me that our Heavenly Bull Divine sect is afraid of him? At most, we'll fight to the death. That's a last resort. Unless there's no other choice, it's best not to fight him head-on. But I'm worried that even if we win the battle, he won't let it go. This matter concerns Mo Chingyun's safety. Let's ask him for his opinion. Huang Gang and the others discussed for a while. In the end, they still asked Emo Qingyun for his opinion. Immediately after, Huang Gang came before Emo Qingyun and asked for his opinion. "I'll accept their suggestion." Upon hearing Huang Gang's question, Emo Qingyun gave an answer and said, "I'm very grateful to the sect for being willing to confront the Divine Wood royal family for me. However, I feel uneasy about having all the members of the sect risk their lives because of me." Huang Gang, who was very satisfied with Emo Qingyun's answer, nodded his head in satisfaction. Following that, Guang Ping and the others did not delay any longer and asked Wang Kai, who was in midair, "Marquis Wang Kai, please tell us the rules of the battle." "The rules are simple. Each of us will send 3 people to fight in turns." Hearing Guang Ping's question, Wang Kai sneered and said, "As for the outcome of the battle, the winner will naturally be the person who stands at the end." "Alright." After understanding the rules of the battle, Guang Ping nodded his head. Immediately after, Guang Ping and the others gathered together to discuss who would fight in the battle. "Sect leader, I'm willing to fight." "I'm also willing to fight." As the chief disciple of the sect, I'm naturally unwilling to pass on my responsibility. In an instant, several disciples took the initiative to volunteer, each of them filled with righteous indignation. Seeing the performance of these disciples, Guang Ping and the others nodded their heads in relief and considered who to send for the battle. At this moment, the chief disciple of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, Wang Mo, pointed to the 3 people beside him and said, "Sect leader, Lu Yun, Pan Wei, and I are the strongest among the disciples. It's most suitable for the 3 of us to fight. If that's the case, the 3 of you will fight." Hearing Wang Mo's suggestion, Guang Ping nodded his head and agreed to his suggestion. At this moment, Emo Qingyun frowned and suddenly shouted, "Wait a minute, I want to change the participants." Chapter 2641. Emo Qingyun did not like the feeling of putting his life in someone else's hand. Hence, he preferred to fight personally rather than letting someone else fight for him. "What do you mean?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's request, Wang Mo and the other 2 were displeased and questioned him coldly. In their eyes, Emo Qingyun's action was questioning their strength. "Nothing." Emo Qingyun shrugged his shoulders in response to Wang Mo and the other 2's anger. He replied calmly, "This battle concerns my life and death. I don't feel at ease letting someone else fight. That's all. This battle is no longer your personal problem. It concerns the reputation of the sect." Hearing Emo Qingyun's thoughts, Wang Mo used a superior attitude to reprimand Emo Qingyun. He continued, "Do you know that if you lose, the sect will be humiliated and its reputation will be damaged? I believe in my own strength more." Emo Qingyun's attitude did not change in response to Wang Mo's lecture. He replied firmly. Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Guang Ping exchanged glances with the other 3 and came to a decision. They were well aware of Emo Qingyun's strength. Although Wang Mo and the other 2's strength was not bad, there was still a gap between them and Emo Qingyun. More importantly, this matter concerned Emo Qingyun's life and death. It was unreasonable to forbid him from fighting. If that's the case, replace Pan Wei with Emo Qingyun. Wang Mo, Lu Sun and Emo Qingyun will fight. Guang Ping made up his mind and announced the candidate for the battle, replacing Pan Wei. Hearing Guang Ping's decision, Wang Mo and the other 2's expressions changed. They expressed their dissatisfaction and said, "Sect Master, this matter is of great importance. You can't let your emotions affect your decisions." "I know what I'm doing. This matter is decided." Guang Ping firmly rejected Wang Mo's persuasion. Seeing Guang Ping's attitude, Wang Mo and Lu Sun exchanged glances and a sharp light flashed across their eyes. "Marquis Wang Kai, our candidate for the battle has been decided." After confirming that Emo Qingyun and the other 2 were going to fight, Guang Ping turned to look at Wang Kai and asked, "Where are your people?" Hearing Guang Ping's question, Wang Kai waved his hand and signaled his people to step forward. It's him. Wang Lingxian, one of the unparalleled divine trees, is actually going to fight. Other than Wang Lingxian, the other two people also seem familiar. Wind Flame Dual Eagles. Never would I have imagined that the two of them would actually serve the divine Wood royal family. Looking at the three people on Wang Kai's side, some people recognized them and were shocked. Under everyone's gazes, Wind Eagle Wang Xiao was the first to walk out. His gaze swept over Mo Qingyun and the other two, and he said, "Among the three of you, who will come out to fight first? I'll go first." Seeing Wang Xiao's request, Mo Qingyun took the initiative to walk up. His idea was simple. Once he dealt with Wang Lingxian and the other two, there would be no need to trouble Wang Mo and the other two. This way, even if he won in the end, he would not need to owe them a favor. Hold on, the first round is crucial. It's better to let Lu Sun fight. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Wang Mo immediately stopped him and gave Lu Sun a look. Receiving Wang Mo's hint, Lu Sun immediately understood and quickly flew in front of Wang Xiao. Please advise me." Lu Sun and Wang Xiao exchanged pleasantries before they took out their weapons and faced each other. Seeing Lu Sun rushing to fight first, Mo Qingyun frowned but did not stop him. It was fine for Lu Sun to fight first. If he could deal with one or two people, it would save him some trouble. Wild Gale Sinister Wind. As soon as Wang Xiao attacked, he activated his Saint Power Starfield and caused the sky and earth to change color. Immediately after, Lu Sun was caught in a gale and suffered the crazy impact of the gale. In a short moment, Lu Sun was seriously injured and his aura became unstable. Looking at him, it seemed that he was unable to continue fighting. He lost. Seeing Lu Sun's situation, Mo Qingyun frowned and guessed the result of the battle. However, what surprised him was that Lu Sun lost so quickly. As expected, as soon as this thought flashed through Mo Qingyun's mind, Lu Sun admitted defeat. Lu Sun was too careless. This Wang Xiao is indeed powerful. His Gale Sinister Gale is ranked in the top 100 in the Saint Power Starfield. Actually, Lu Sun should have held on and depleted some of Wang Xiao's combat strength. Losing the first round, the following situation is not good. Seeing Lu Sun's performance, some of the elders felt sorry for him and were worried. Under everyone's regretful gaze, Lu Sun returned to Wang Mo's side in a sorry state. "Junior brother, don't worry about it. Rest assured and recover here. I'll go meet him." After comforting Lu Sun, Wang Mo stood up and was about to fly to Wang Xiao. Seeing Wang Mo's action, Mo Qingyun looked at Wang Mo with a faint smile and said, "Why don't you let me fight this round? I don't want to lose 2 rounds in a row." "You?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Mo's eyes turned cold and he angrily rebuked, "Do you know the importance of this round? If we lose this round, how big of an impact will it have on our morale?" After Wang Mo said that, he turned around and went to fight with Wang Xiao. "Qingyun, what do you think are Wang Mo's chances of winning?" Seeing Wang Mo fight first, Tai Balong was curious and asked Mo Qingyun's opinion. Hearing Tai Balong's words, Mo Qingyun smiled indifferently and said, "In my opinion, Wang Mo will lose without a doubt. However, it doesn't matter. At most, I'll fight 1 against 3. 1 against 3? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Gang and the others were shocked and their eyes widened. They had to admit that Mo Qingyun's words were too domineering. Mo Qingyun did not care about the shock of Huang Gang and the others. With a regretful expression, he said, "Originally, I was the first to fight and could have ended the battle with a perfect victory. However, the 2 of them made a fuss, so I could only win with a counterattack." Hearing Mo Qingyun's confident words, Huang Gang and the others looked at each other with a doubtful expression. Mo Qingyun's confidence was a good thing. However, in a battle between experts, any detail could determine the outcome of the battle. Therefore, until the end of the battle, no one could come to a conclusion. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, Wang Mo and Wang Xiao's battle began. Learning from the previous lesson, Wang Mo used the Saint Power Star Field as soon as he attacked. Instantly, numerous towering mountains enveloped Wang Xiao and him. The mountains blocked the wind. Under the obstruction of Wang Mo's surrounding mountain stone field, the fierce wind's sinister wind's power was greatly reduced. Speaking of which, Wang Mo's surrounding mountain stone field was the fierce wind's sinister wind's nemesis. However, not long after the battle, the advantage that Wang Mo had built was destroyed by Wang Xiao. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Wang Mo was hit by Wang Xiao's palm and his body flew out. When Wang Mo stabilized his body, he spat out a mouthful of blood and admitted defeat unwillingly. Chapter 2642. Lu Xun and Wang Mo were defeated consecutively. This made everyone understand that Mo Qingyun's situation wasn't good. In their opinion, no matter how strong Mo Qingyun was, it was impossible for him to take on 3 people by himself. Qingyun, just do your best. If you can't do it, there's still us. Seeing Mo Qingyun stand up, Huang Gang whispered to him with a solemn expression. Hearing Huang Gang's words, Mo Qingyun nodded his head and didn't say anything else. Some feelings were enough to be remembered in the heart. There was no need to say it out loud. Seeing Mo Qingyun walking towards Wang Xiao, Wang Mo's face turned cold and shouted, Mo Qingyun, you still want to continue the battle? Isn't the result obvious enough? If I were you, I would admit defeat so that I won't be taken on 3 people by myself. Admit defeat. Hearing Wang Mo's request, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and asked, if I admit defeat, wouldn't I be taken on 3 people by myself? Wouldn't I be embarrassing the sect? At least it would look better. Wang Mo seemed to have expected that Mo Qingyun wouldn't admit defeat so easily, so he quickly explained. Hearing Wang Mo's words, Mo Qingyun's disdain for him became even more intense. You're just lying to yourself. Also, let me tell you something. Don't think that everyone is trash like you. After being humiliated by Mo Qingyun, Wang Mo was immediately enraged and gnashed his teeth in anger. Mo Qingyun chose to ignore Wang Mo's anger and continued to walk towards Wang Xiao. When Mo Qingyun walked towards Wang Xiao, a thought flashed through his mind as he suddenly thought of a possibility. Wang Mo is the head disciple of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Even if Wang Xiao's strength is extraordinary, it wouldn't be easy to defeat him. Could it be that Wang Mo and Wang Xiao purposely lost? When this thought appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun felt that it was very possible. He vaguely guessed their identities. If he wasn't mistaken, Wang Mo and Lu Xun were likely spies as well. It was just that they hadn't been discovered yet. After all, even Jiang Mu and the others had become spies. It was normal for Wang Mo and the other 2 to be spies as well. No wonder they suggested a bet. So it was this kind of trick. Thinking that Wang Mo and the others were spies, Mo Qingyun suddenly understood the scheme of Jiang Mu and the others. He thought to himself, if I didn't take the initiative to fight, if Wang Mo and the other 2 were to fight on my behalf, and if they purposely admitted defeat, wouldn't my situation be bad? Having thought this through, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, he was the only one he could rely on. Peak of the Galaxy Tier. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun walk over, Wang Xiao sensed his cultivation base and said disdainfully, So you are Mo Qingyun. I was wondering how capable you would be, but it turns out that you are only at the peak galaxy grade. It's enough to kill you. Mo Qingyun replied coldly in response to Wang Xiao's mockery. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Xiao's expression turned cold. I was still thinking of letting you lose in a more dignified manner, but it seems like there is no need for that. You'd better think about how to lose in a more dignified manner. Mo Qingyun also turned a blind eye to Wang Xiao's angry display and replied nonchalantly. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Xiao roared angrily and chose to make the first move. Wild Wind Ghost Domain. Wang Xiao made his move and a terrifying Saint Energy Star field enveloped Mo Qingyun. Then, a cold, strange wind swept towards Mo Qingyun. Insignificant tricks. Upon sensing the strange wind, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless. He immediately took out his sword intent. As the sword intent was taken out, it surrounded Mo Qingyun in the center and blocked the strange wind attack for him. Puff, puff, puff in the face of the overbearing impact of the sword intent, all the strange wind that approached Mo Qingyun was defeated. After defeating the strange winds, Mo Qingyun frowned. His previous guess was even more certain. The attacks of these strange winds aren't strong. With Lu Xun's combat strength, he shouldn't be completely helpless against them. In this way, Lu Xun's previous embarrassing defeat should have been deliberately caused. Upon discovering this, Mo Qingyun was sure that Lu Xun must have admitted defeat on purpose. Since I have the answer, the battle should end. After getting the answer to his doubts, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any more time. He raised his hand and made a grabbing motion. Then, the Nine-Bull Divine Sword was taken out and slashed towards Wang Xiao. Golden Bull Sky Shattering Slash. As Mo Qingyun waved his hand, the Nine-Bull Divine Sword emitted a dazzling golden glow and blasted out a sharp golden sword light. The golden sword light was blasted out and instantly pierced through the hurricane evil spirits and hit Wang Xiao. Wang Xiao's body was instantly severed at the waist by the golden sword light. Wang Xiao's eyes widened when he saw that his body had been severed. He couldn't believe that this was real. How could a person with a peak galaxy-grade cultivation actually possess such terrifying combat strength? I admit defeat. After a short moment of shock, Wang Xiao didn't dare hesitate. He immediately fled to Wang Kai's side. He knew very well that if he continued to fight, he would probably die. When they saw Wang Xiao's actions, the crowd came to their senses and realized that the battle was over. Mo Qingyun's strength has actually reached such a level. Wang Kai's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. He exuded a strong killing intent as he said, "If we don't get rid of him and allow him to continue growing, he will become a huge threat to the royal family. This kid definitely can't be allowed to live." Everyone around Wang Kai nodded in agreement when they heard his words. Wang Xiao wasn't an ordinary person. He was a famous cultivation genius, so it wasn't difficult for him to fight someone with a higher cultivation grade. Even someone like him had been defeated by Mo Qingyun with a single move. One could only imagine how other celestial domain-grade powerhouses would react when they faced Mo Qingyun. He defeated Wang Xiao with a single move. Wang Mo and Huang Gang's faces turned pale when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. They had never expected that their meticulous plan would be destroyed by Mo Qingyun with a single move. Compared to the panic of Wang Kai and the others, Huang Gang and the others were pleasantly surprised. Mo Qingyun's strength was much stronger than they had imagined. As a result, the outcome of this battle became difficult to predict. As everyone watched in shock, Mo Qingyun glanced indifferently at Wang Kai and shouted, "Who will be the next to fight from your side? Don't hide anymore. Don't be so arrogant, kid. Let me, Wang Zishuan, deal with you." When he heard Mo Qingyun's arrogant words, Wang Zishuan flew out of the crowd and charged towards Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2643. Fire Spear Domain. Wang Zishuan waved his spear, and a terrifying flame energy burst out from the spear. When the flame energy burst out, it turned into flaming spears and enveloped Mo Qingyun. Then, Mo Qingyun entered a world of flames with countless flaming spears floating around him. When Mo Qingyun entered this world, the flaming spears floating in the air flew towards him. Hundreds and thousands of flaming spears attacked from all directions, cutting off Mo Qingyun's escape route. Sword Aura Rise. Facing the flaming spear attack, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless and immediately took out his flaming spear. In terms of attack, Wang Zixuan's fire spear domain was stronger than Wang Xiao's Gale Phantom Tempest. Of course, it was not realistic to use this to hurt Mo Qingyun. Puff puff puff, facing the domineering attack of the sword aura, the flaming spear radiance within a 10-mile radius was destroyed. After blocking the flaming spear radiance, Mo Qingyun took out the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and turned to look at Wang Xiao. Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at him, Wang Zixuan's body trembled instinctively and a look of panic appeared on his face. Just now, Wang Xiao was defeated like this. Was he going to follow in his footsteps? No, I can't lose. Wang Zixuan shook his head frantically, unwilling to accept this. Just as Wang Zixuan was panicking, Mo Qingyun slashed down with his sword and slashed out a sword radiance with an imposing aura. Seeing Mo Qingyun using the same trick again, Wang Zixuan shouted angrily, "You're looking down on me too much. You can't defeat me with this." Reverse Fire Spear Shield. Wang Zixuan shouted angrily and spun his spear rapidly. Under Wang Zixuan's rotation, a terrifying flame burst out of the spear and turned into a flaming shield. When the flaming shield was formed, the space around it trembled as if it was about to be burned. Poochie! The flaming sword radiance directly penetrated the flaming shield and hit Wang Zixuan's body. Then, Wang Zixuan's body flew out, his face full of disbelief. So much so that at this moment, his brain even stopped thinking. He was very puzzled. He had clearly used a divine ability, so how could he still be hit by the sword light? Bang bang bang! Before Wang Zixuan could react, a terrifying explosive force was produced in his body. Wang Zixuan's injuries immediately worsened after enduring the impact of several explosions. Upon seeing Wang Zixuan's situation, an elder from the Divine Wood Imperial family immediately went forward to catch him. When he understood Wang Zixuan's situation, his face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, "We admit defeat for this round." Under Mo Qingyun's sword, Wang Zixuan's foundation had been injured. If he continued to fight, not only would it affect his future cultivation, it might even cause him to suffer heavy injuries and die. Wang Zixuan also admitted defeat. In that case, wouldn't Mo Qingyun have won 2 matches in a row? This was challenging 3 consecutive victories. Mo Qingyun's strength is too terrifying. It's simply a sword that can break 10,000 laws. I suddenly realized that Mo Qingyun isn't that annoying anymore. Watching him make my blood boil. I'm afraid that only Mo Qingyun would dare to beat up the Divine Wood Imperial family like this. I wonder who will win in the battle between him and Wang Lingxian. If Mo Qingyun defeats Wang Lingxian, he will be the #1 person in the Wood Source Galaxy. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect's disciples were all talking at once, their faces full of anticipation. Originally, they thought that the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect would lose this bet. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun would actually show his prowess. The originally one-sided situation was forcefully brought back to the starting point. Not bad, not bad. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Huang Gang revealed a bright smile and said with a gratified expression, "This kid did not disappoint me. My cultivation has not been in vain. For him to have such achievements, this old man's hard work has not been in vain." Hearing Huang Gang's words, Tai Balong and the others were all stunned on the spot. According to their understanding, Mo Qingyun had only been Huang Gang's disciple for a few days. More importantly, Huang Gang's guidance to Mo Qingyun seemed to be related to Array Dao. What Mo Qingyun used was a sword technique. What did this have to do with Array Dao? Myriad paths lead to the same destination. Sensing the gazes of Tai Balong and the others, Huang Gang guessed their thoughts and simply explained, "Kids, you are still too inexperienced. You need to reflect on yourselves." Seeing how shameless Huang Gang was, they could only surrender. "This little guy is really surprising." Hall Master Hua nodded approvingly when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Upon hearing Hall Master Hua's words, the old man standing beside him asked in surprise, "Uncle Master, Could it be that you are interested in him and want to accept him as a disciple? I can't teach him any more. When Hall Master Hua heard the question, he smiled bitterly and shook his head. He then said, if there is a chance, we can discuss the comprehension of the spatial laws with him. Uncle Master, do you mean that he has comprehended space laws? Hall Master Hua's words frightened the old man. He found it hard to believe as he exclaimed, he is only a galaxy-grade martialist. How could he possibly comprehend space laws? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that others can't. Don't think that others are the same as you. Hall Master Hua shook his head when he saw the old man's reaction. Then, he quoted Mo Qingyun's words. Upon hearing Hall Master Hua's words, the old man fell silent as he recalled Wang Mo's performance. He had just questioned Mo Qingyun and ended up getting slapped in the face by Mo Qingyun. As the old man thought of this, the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically. As everyone stared in shock, Mo Qingyun turned to Wang Lingxian and said, you are the only one left. What are you still standing there for? Come out and fight me. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the onlookers around them didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If one was too arrogant, they would get beaten up. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's challenge. He nodded at Wang Lingxian and said, Lingxian, don't hold back. Go all out and kill that kid. Alright. Wang Lingxian didn't say much. He responded and flew towards Mo Qingyun. When he arrived near Mo Qingyun, Wang Lingxian stopped in his tracks and confronted Mo Qingyun. Wang Lingxian was indeed famous. Just by standing there casually, he gave off a different vibe. Your talent is not bad, but your strength is a little weak. After taking a few glances at Mo Qingyun, Wang Lingxian said this and took out a long blade. As soon as he took out the long blade, Wang Lingshuan's aura changed drastically and became as majestic as a mountain. Under Wang Lingshuan's aura, it was easy to feel oppressed and not dare accept the challenge. P.S. There was a clerical error in the first 2 chapters. The name Divine Wood Wushuang was written incorrectly. Lu Gongming had already been killed. The person named Divine Wood Wushuang should be another person named Wang Lingxian. Chapter 2644. Ghostly Blade World Breaking Slash. Wang Lingxian slashed out with his blade. A black blade light blasted out and created a deep abyss in the sky. The bottomless abyss appeared and enveloped Mo Qingyun. It was as if Mo Qingyun was going to be exiled. Not good. Wang Lingxian has comprehended the spatial laws. Qingyun is in a bad situation. Huang Gang was shocked when he saw the might of Wang Lingshuan's blade. He revealed a worried expression. Tai Balong and the others' expressions turned heavy when they heard Huang Gang's words. They knew very well that after comprehending the spatial laws, one's strength would increase greatly. Even if they only comprehended a little, they could easily become invincible in the same realm. Grand Elder, what should we do now? Should we rescue Qingyun? Tai Balong could not wait to go rescue Mo Qingyun when he heard that he was in danger. Hearing Tai Balong's question, Huang Gang's expression tensed up. After a fierce struggle in his heart, he said, Wang Kai and the others are definitely on guard against us. If we attack, they will definitely stop us. This will only make the situation worse. Qingyun's current situation is not particularly dangerous. Let's observe first. After Huang Gang's analysis, Tai Balong and the others were worried, but they did not act recklessly. Grand Elder, what will Mo Qingyun do when faced with such a situation? The old man beside Palace Master Hua asked curiously when he saw Mo Qingyun's situation. Palace Master Hua frowned when he heard the question. He could not help but sigh and said, Mo Qingyun's talent is not weak. However, his foundation is still lacking. Let's prepare to rescue him. Palace Master Hua focused his mind and prepared to rescue Mo Qingyun at any time. Compared to the others' worries, Mo Qingyun was much calmer and did not show any signs of panic. There seems to be a spatial power in Wang Lingxuan's blade. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw the might of Wang Lingxuan's blade. His expression became tense. Wang Lingxian was very strong, far stronger than the previous two. He was a difficult opponent. In comparison, Lu Gongming, who was on the same level as him, seemed much more unbearable. If I'm swallowed by this black abyss, I'll be in a passive situation. While Mo Qingyun was feeling apprehensive, his mind was spinning rapidly as he tried to think of a solution. Mo Qingyun's mind raced as he thought of an idea. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The attack method of the Death's Door has a bit of spatial penetration. Perhaps I can use it to break out of this situation. The Door of Death. Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate to use the Door of Death. Soon, a black door of light appeared in the black abyss. Soon after, Mo Qingyun's figure moved and entered the black light door. Mo Qingyun entered the Door of Death. He saw the black abyss slowly healing. Not too long the black abyss had completely healed, and the gate of death had also appeared, floating above the heavenly bull divine sect. This way, Wang Lingxuan's attack had been easily neutralized by Mo Qingyun. Success! Mo Qingyun was delighted when he came out of the Door of Death. He hadn't expected that he had guessed correctly. The attack method of the Door of Death did make use of spatial laws in some aspect. What kind of mystic ability was that? There was actually a spatial power fluctuation. Huang Gang was startled when he saw the Door of Death. Then, he smiled faintly and said, "This kid is really surprising. He actually comprehended spatial laws with a peak galaxy-grade cultivation." Tai Balong and the others widened their eyes in shock when they heard Huang Gang's words. While Tai Balong and the others were shocked, they also felt a little ashamed. Mo Qingyun was only at the galaxy grade, yet he had comprehended spatial laws. They were all peak celestial domain grades, yet they hadn't even touched the threshold. This was really embarrassing. That's right. Hall Master Hua's expression relaxed when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. It seems like the Divine Wood royal family isn't the only one with luck. The Heavenly Bull Divine sect also has it, which is why Mo Qingyun was born. Mo Qingyun is indeed a genius. His future achievements are limitless. The old man nodded in agreement with Hall Master Hua's words. It seems like we have to protect him with our lives. We definitely can't let the Divine Wood royal family harm him. Hall Master Hua and Hall Master Hua exchanged a few words before coming to a decision. Wang Lingxian was startled when he saw Mo Qingyun escape from the abyss. His gaze became even colder as he said, "You are indeed somewhat capable. You are worthy of me going all out to deal with." Blade Demon Battle Domain. Wang Lingxian held the blade with both hands and shut his eyes tightly as a cold current erupted from his body. The black cold current erupted and poured into the blade, releasing a terrifying black mist. In a short moment, the sky above the Heavenly Bull Divine sect was shrouded by a layer of black mist. Woo woo woo! After the black fog appeared, sinister shouts began to sound from within. Then, everyone saw ghostly figures wielding long blades appear in the middle of the black mist. When the ghostly figures with long blades appeared, they lunged at Mo Qingyun and hacked at their long blades frantically. The ghostly figures with long blades weren't weak. They were all celestial domain-grade martialists, so they couldn't be ignored. Fortunately, Mo Qingyun had condensed an astral sword that could help him block the ghostly figures with long blades. In the face of the sword aura's attack, all the saber phantoms that approached Mo Qingyun were destroyed by the sword aura's tyrannical might. After blocking the attacks of the ghostly figures with long blades, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. "If this is all you have, then you are no different from the previous two." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he raised his hand and made a grasping motion in the air, summoning the Nine-Bull Divine Sword. Mo Qingyun wielded the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and appeared in front of Wang Lingxian in a flash. "You are always the only one attacking. What's the point? It's my turn to retaliate." Defense ignore. Venomous bull abdomen water sword. As he neared Wang Lingxian, Mo Qingyun gathered his sword and blasted out a purple mist-like sword light. When the purple mist-like sword light was slashed out, it emitted a terrifying corrosive power that corroded a crack in the space. Wang Lingxian was startled when he saw this. There was a hint of fear in his eyes. At this point, he had completely put away his contempt and no longer dared to underestimate Mo Qingyun. Although Mo Qingyun's cultivation base wasn't high, the combat power and techniques he displayed made people feel that it was impossible to guard against him. Ghostly blade sweeping shadow. Wang Lingxian, who was still in shock, quickly brandished his blade and slashed out a black blade light. When the black blade light appeared, it disappeared in a flash and appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. Trying to trade a life for a life? Mo Qingyun's eyelids twitched when he saw Wang Lingxian's actions. He had guessed his intentions. It had to be said that this fellow was ruthless. He had actually used such a method to force Mo Qingyun to retreat. Chapter 2645. Exchanging a life for a life. I've never been afraid. Seeing through Wang Lingxian's intentions, Mo Qingyun's offensive did not decrease as he forcefully resisted Wang Lingxian's saber light. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Wang Lingxian finally panicked. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to be so crazy. Are you crazy? Wang Lingxian roared and began to retreat. He did not dare to risk his life against Mo Qingyun. He was the #1 genius of the Divine Wood Imperial family. Risking his life against a lowly person like Mo Qingyun was too much of a loss for him. His actions just now were merely to force Mo Qingyun to retreat by advancing in order to force him to retreat. Really making him risk his life with Mo Qingyun, he did not dare to do it. Although Wang Lingxian chose to retreat, he was still too slow. When Wang Lingxian retreated, the poisonous mist sword light hit him and enveloped him. When Wang Lingxian was hit by the sword light, Mo Qingyun was also hit by the saber light. His body was blasted away. After being hit by Wang Lingxian's saber light, a hideous wound immediately appeared on Mo Qingyun's chest. In a short while, Mo Qingyun's clothes on his chest were dyed red with blood. Seeing Mo Qingyun's appearance, Huang Gang and the others' expressions trembled as they felt a strong sense of worry. However, although they were very worried, they did not rashly intervene. They knew that now was a critical moment and they absolutely could not act impulsively. That little guy's injuries seemed to be recovering rapidly. After observing Mo Qingyun's situation for a while, Palace Master Hua was surprised to find that his injuries were recovering rapidly. Hearing Palace Master Hua's words, the old man next to him was shocked. He quickly observed Mo Qingyun's situation. Under his observation, he found that Mo Qingyun's injuries were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. This discovery truly frightened the old man. He exclaimed, "What a shocking recovery speed!" His injuries were healed because of the power of his bloodline. It seems that his bloodline is not simple. No wonder he dared to risk his life. It turns out that he had such a trump card. After learning about Mo Qingyun's situation, the worry of Hall Master Hua and the others immediately vanished. From the looks of it, Wang Lingxian and Mo Qingyun had made a huge mistake by exchanging their lives for each other's. It didn't take long for Mo Qingyun's superficial injuries to recover. At this moment, the poisonous sword light dissipated, revealing Wang Lingxian's figure. Looking at Wang Lingxian's appearance, everyone could not bear to see him like this. This guy was in a much worse state than Mo Qingyun. Although the power of the poison bull's abdominal water sword was not as tyrannical as his saber aura, its destructive power lasted for a long time. More importantly, under the enhancement of ignoring defense, the sword light directly pierced through his body. Under the corrosion of the poison, his internal organs had already withered by more than half. If he did not hurry up and treat his injuries, his body would be completely destroyed. He actually used poison. How despicable! Seeing his own situation, Wang Lingxian was so angry that he gritted his teeth, and his face turned purple. It could be seen that Wang Lingxian was poisoned to the extent that he could not suppress it. Oh no, Lingxian is poisoned. Seeing Wang Lingxuan's situation, an elder in a goat robe from the Divine Wood royal family revealed a nervous expression and said, "Marquis, you must treat Lingxuan's injuries immediately. Otherwise, his body will be destroyed, and he will have to find a way to possess another body to cultivate again." Hearing the elder's words, Wang Kai's face was as black as ink, and he clenched his fists tightly. He did not expect that with the strength of Wang Lingxian and the other two, they would be defeated by Mo Qingyun alone. More importantly, Wang Lingxian and the other two were seriously injured in this battle. It had to be said that they had suffered a crushing defeat in this battle. "Lingxian, come back!" Out of concern for Wang Lingxian, although Wang Kai was unwilling, he still called for a ceasefire. However, Wang Lingxian rejected Wang Kai's request. Wang Lingxian said unwillingly, "I haven't lost yet. Even if I have to give up this body, I will kill this kid with my own hands today." After replying to Wang Kai, Wang Lingxuan's figure flashed, and he quickly rushed towards Mo Qingyun. Ghostly shadow sky-returning blade. As he rushed towards Mo Qingyun, Wang Lingxian once again brandished his long blade and chopped down at Mo Qingyun. A black blade light flew out and exuded an astonishing spatial power as it blasted towards Mo Qingyun. This is the true power of spatial laws. Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat when he saw the might of Wang Lingxuan's blade. His expression turned solemn. Immediately, he raised his guard, not daring to be careless in the slightest. Based on Wang Lingxuan's current performance, he was only one step away from reaching the universe grade. This was a terrifying enemy. While Mo Qingyun was feeling apprehensive, the blade light was already nearing him, making it impossible for him to avoid it. "I can't avoid it." When Mo Qingyun thought about it, he immediately understood the situation he was in. After understanding his situation, Mo Qingyun decided to throw caution to the wind. He said boldly, "Since I can't hide, then there's no need to hide. I, Mo Qingyun, have never been afraid of anyone." In any case, Wang Lingxuan's injuries were more serious. If they continued to drag things out, Luo Yunyang would definitely be able to exhaust Wang Lingxian to death. Defense ignored. Green Wood Divine Ox Sword Array. Wild Ox World Incinerating Sword Array. Golden Ox Boundary Breaking Sword Array. Mo Qingyun brandished the 9-ox divine sword frantically, conjuring 9 different types of power in succession. Immediately afterward, 9 sword formations with imposing auras enveloped Mo Qingyun and Mo Qingyun. As the 9 sword arrays were formed, 9 different types of sword lights blasted towards Wang Lingxian. Facing the densely packed sword light attacks, even though Wang Lingxian was powerful, he was still hit by the sword light one after another. Bang! 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 In a short moment, Wang Lingxian was hit by numerous sword lights, causing wounds to appear all over his body. Following that, the aura that he emitted immediately became disorderly. When Wang Lingxian was seriously injured, Mo Qingyun was also slashed by the blade lights. The injuries on his body worsened a little. But all in all, Wang Lingxian was even more miserable than him. His physical body was basically crippled. The current him already had no other choice apart from possessing a body and being reborn. Quickly make a move, save Lingxian. Seeing Wang Lingxuan's situation, Wang Kai and the rest could not sit still anymore. They bombarded the 9 sword arrays one after another. Under Wang Kai and the rest's attacks, the 9 sword arrays were immediately defeated, resolving Wang Lingxuan's crisis. When Wang Kai and the rest attacked, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate in the slightest and immediately retreated towards Huang Gang and the rest. One-on-one, he was not afraid of anyone. But to let him fight a crowd, especially people who comprehended spatial law, he did not have the slightest confidence. Hence, it was better for him to temporarily avoid falling into danger. Save Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun retreat, Hall Master Hua and the rest hurriedly went up to greet, protecting Mo Qingyun behind them. Protecting Mo Qingyun behind him, Hall Master Hua revealed a faint smile and said, "Marquis Wang Kai, looking at the current situation, we've won this wager." Humph! Hearing Hall Master Hua's words, Wang Kai snorted coldly, his face as black as ink. Chapter 2646. Everyone, since we've won the gambling fight, you all had better return. Wang Kai's furious expression was ignored by Hall Master Hua in the slightest, sending off the guests with an impatient tone. Ordering Wang Kai and the rest to leave, Hall Master Hua looked at Guang Ping and said in a solemn voice, "Sect Master, the sect's atmosphere isn't good recently. I suggest sealing the sect and reorganizing for a period of time." And hearing Hall Master Hua's words, Guang Ping immediately understood his meaning. This was to prevent Wang Kai and the rest from reneging on the agreement and forcefully attacking the Heavenly Bull Divine sect in order to deal with Mo Qingyun. Activate the sect protecting Grand Array. If anyone dares to trespass the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, kill without mercy. Understanding Hall Master Hua's meaning, Guang Ping did not delay at all and immediately instructed the several elders. Receiving Guang Ping's orders, the several elders immediately took action and deployed the sect-protecting Grand Array. "Let's go." Seeing the Heavenly Bull Divine sect activate the sect-protecting Grand Array, Wang Kai had an unwilling expression and left with the Divine Wood Imperial family's people. He miscalculated this time. He did not expect that Mo Qingyun was so monstrous, making him suffer a loss that he could not voice out. Presently, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect was already on guard. Forcefully attacking, the price was too great. Humph! The next time I come, I'll definitely flatten the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Before leaving, Wang Kai swept a glance over the Heavenly Bull Divine sect and threw down a ruthless sentence. Before long, everyone left the Heavenly Bull Divine sect under Wang Kai's lead. Seeing Wang Kai and the rest leave, only then did the expressions of Hall Master Hua and the rest loosen up. Their hanging hearts were completely at ease. If Wang Kai went all out and forcefully attacked, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect's situation would not be optimistic. Even if they repelled Wang Kai and the rest, they would also have to pay a huge price. This was not what they wanted. "Qingyun, how are your injuries?" Retracting their gazes, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun and asked him concernedly. Hearing everyone's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said with a faint smile, "My injuries aren't a hindrance. I'll be fine after adjusting my breathing." Mo Qingyun's answer made everyone's expressions loosen up, their hanging hearts at ease. After replying to the crowd, Mo Qingyun walked towards Wang Mo and Wang Yu and said calmly, "Do you two have anything to say about the bet just now?" Due to Mo Qingyun's question, the crowd's attention was focused on Wang Mo and his companion. Under the gazes of the crowd, Wang Mo and his companion's expressions tensed up, and they appeared to be somewhat panicked. "What do you mean?" Mo Qingyun calmed himself down and asked Mo Qingyun with a displeased expression. Mo Qingyun had expected that Wang Mo wouldn't confess so easily, so he continued unhurriedly, "Am I not clear enough about what I mean? You are also spies of the Divine Wood Imperial family, right?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone was shocked as they looked at Wang Mo and Wang Yu in disbelief. After a brief moment of surprise, they felt relieved. Even Jiang Mu and the others were spies. It was normal for Wang Mo and the other two to become spies since they were only direct disciples. Doubting Wang Mo and Wang Yu's identity, the gazes everyone looked at them with immediately turned cold. If Mo Qingyun didn't mention it, they wouldn't have thought too much about it and wouldn't have suspected the two's defeat. But after Mo Qingyun said it, they immediately discovered that something was amiss with Wang Mo and Wang Yu's loss. If one person was defeated due to carelessness, it was still understandable. But for two people to be like this in a row, it didn't make sense. Emo Chingyun, although we've lost, you can't humiliate us like this. As the head disciple of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect, how can I be a spy of the Divine Wood Imperial family? By saying this, you must be trying to take my place and deliberately take the opportunity to slander me. Wang Mo and Wang Yu were extremely cunning. While defending themselves, they even pinned a big label on Mo Chingyun. If someone who didn't know the situation heard Wang Mo's words, they would really think that Mo Chingyun had a conspiracy. Bang bang, while Wang Mo and Wang Yu were defending themselves, Mo Chingyun directly kicked out twice, sending the two of them flying. Wang Mo and Wang Yu's injuries were not light to begin with. Now that they suffered Mo Chingyun's kick, their injuries immediately worsened by a few notches. You actually dared to make a move and heavily injure the two of us in front of the sect master and elders. Having Mo Chingyun kick him fiercely, Wang Mo was angered until his expression twitched, his gaze glaring at Mo Chingyun. Except, Mo Chingyun chose to ignore his words. His tone carried some impatience as he said, disregarding that you're just a head disciple, even if you're a sect elder, if you wear me down until I run out of patience, I'll similarly kill you all the same without fail. Hearing Mo Chingyun's words, the surrounding people's expressions all trembled, feeling an intense fear. They could sense that Mo Chingyun's words right now were not joking with them. One last chance, if you guys still don't say it, there's no need to say anymore. The moment Mo Chingyun's words left his mouth, the aura he emitted instantly turned icy cold. Under the influence of Mo Chingyun's aura, Wang Mo and Lu Sun were finally moved, no longer daring to challenge Mo Chingyun's patience. They could tell that Guang Ping and the rest did not stop Mo Chingyun because they were suspicious of the two of them. From the looks of it, even if Mo Chingyun did not question them, Guang Ping and the rest would still interrogate them. I'll speak. Lu Sun's courage was slightly smaller. Under Mo Chingyun's intimidation, he began to confess honestly. Seeing that Lu Sun was being lenient with his confession, Wang Mo's expression turned cold, wanting to kill him to silence him. You're courting death. Without waiting for Wang Mo to stop him, Mo Chingyun pointed his finger, blasting out a golden ray of light. The ray of light flashed and disappeared, directly blasting into Wang Mo's head, destroying his soul. Mo Chingyun killed Wang Mo. Seeing Mo Chingyun's action, Lu Sun was so frightened that his body trembled, and his face turned as pale as paper. Mo Chingyun's action really scared him. He finally understood how idiotic it was to challenge Mo Chingyun's patience. Speak. Mo Chingyun killed Wang Mo with one finger. His face was dark as he urged Lu Sun. Hearing Mo Chingyun's urging, Lu Sun glanced at Pan Wei, then slowly began to narrate. Feeling Lu Sun's gaze, Pan Wei, who was behind the crowd, trembled visibly. He knew that if he did not leave now, his identity would be exposed. You're not going to listen to him once, and you're going to leave just like that? Before Pan Wei could turn around and leave, a cold and indifferent voice entered his ears. Then, Pan Wei's face turned pale, and he looked at Mo Chingyun with a terrified gaze. He really did not expect that Mo Chingyun's attention was on him all along. Seeing Pan Wei's performance, everyone immediately understood that this guy was a spy too. Discovering that Pan Wei and the rest were all spies, Guang Ping and the rest were shocked, having a huge discovery. It turned out that this so-called gambling fight was a huge conspiracy, a trap targeted at Mo Chingyun. Previously, if they let Pan Wei and the rest fight, this gambling fight would be lost for sure. Chapter 2647. After understanding the Divine Wood Imperial family's scheme, everyone also understood why Mo Chingyun was so angry. If Mo Chingyun hadn't been careful, he would have been killed by Wang Mo and the other two. Therefore, it was strange that he was so polite to Wang Mo and the other two. You also come over and say a few words. Looking at the terrified Pan Wei, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and made a grabbing motion, blasting out a violent burst of saint force. The saint power blasted out and turned into a huge claw shadow, capturing Pan Wei in front of him. Sect Chief, you are clear about the matter, I will leave it to you to deal with it. After capturing Pan Wei, Mo Qingyun said a few words to Guang Ping before he left. After all, he was only a disciple. If he continued to deal with Lu Sun and Wang Mo, it would be a little overboard. Moreover, Lu Sun and the other two's identities had been exposed. He believed that with Guang Ping and the others' wisdom, they would know how to deal with it. Good. Guang Ping nodded at Mo Qingyun's words, then said with concern, You can go and heal your injuries, we will take care of the other matters. Hearing Guang Ping's reply, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction and returned to his cave dwelling. When Mo Qingyun returned to his cultivation dwelling, his figure disappeared in a flicker, entering the Fortune mainland. The current situation is not optimistic. I have to break through to the celestial domain grade as soon as possible. Mo Qingyun thought to himself, then began to cultivate in seclusion to heal his injuries. Although his external injuries had all healed, there were still some bruises. While Mo Qingyun was recuperating, he activated the Genesis creation bloodline to speed up his recovery. In the following time, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in healing his injuries. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. After 3 days of continuous cultivation, Mo Qingyun's injuries were fully healed. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that his cultivation had advanced a step further during this recuperation session. Half-step celestial domain grade. Mo Qingyun flashed a dazzling smile when he realized that his cultivation base had increased. This is a blessing in disguise. Breaking through to the celestial domain grade has become much easier. Given my current situation, I can try to break through to the celestial domain grade. Mo Qingyun's heart stirred. He decided to give it a try and once again immersed himself in cultivation. In his opinion, if he broke through to the celestial domain grade, he would have more confidence in facing the Divine Wood royal family. Heavenly Bull Divine Sect, Conference Hall. At this moment, Guang Ping and the others were gathered here to discuss the next arrangements. In these few days, they carried out a large-scale purge of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect's disciples. Through these few days of hard work, the spies hidden in the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect were basically all ferreted out. What shocked them was that there were hundreds of spies among the disciples of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. Moreover, the talents of these disciples were not weak. Most of them were heavily nurtured by the sect. One could imagine how great of an impact these disciples would have on the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect when they grew up. When that happened, the entire Heavenly Bull Divine Sect would most likely fall under their control. In other words, the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect would only exist in name by then. Such an outcome frightened Guang Ping and the others. They felt as though they had been given a new lease on life. If it hadn't been for Mo Qingyun's matter, which had made them reorganize the sect, they really wouldn't have discovered this hidden danger. It seems like Mo Qingyun is really our sect's lucky star. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's contributions, Guang Ping sighed and felt a strong sense of regret. Upon hearing Guang Ping's words, Huang Gang nodded his head. If it hadn't been for his arrival, I really wouldn't have dared believe that such a calamity would be hidden in a sect that was as peaceful as water. It seems like a sect that is too peaceful isn't a good thing. It gives off a gloomy feeling. Hall Master Hua lamented as he listened to everyone's conversation. Then, he flashed a gratified smile and said, however, thanks to Mo Qingyun's actions, the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect's stagnant pool of water has come back to life and many problems have surfaced. Everyone nodded their heads in agreement. I haven't seen that kid for a few days. I wonder how his injuries have healed. Huang Gang revealed a worried expression when everyone mentioned Mo Qingyun. He couldn't help but sigh. Guang Ping and the others also revealed worried expressions when they heard Huang Gang's words. They wanted to know about Emo Qingyun's situation. To them, Emo Qingyun was the hope of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. They couldn't let anything happen to him. I'll make a trip to his cave abode and check on his situation. Huang Gang stood up and instructed everyone before heading to Emo Qingyun's cave abode. Everyone agreed with Huang Gang's decision. They would feel more at ease if they went to take a look. Rumble. Just as Huang Gang stood up, a loud sound suddenly rang out. After the loud sound, the entire Heavenly Bull Divine sect shook. Guang Ping and the others were shocked when they noticed such a commotion. They knew what was going on. Someone was attacking the sect protecting Array. It must be the Divine Wood Imperial family. They came pretty quickly. Guessing that the Divine Wood Imperial family had arrived, Hall Master Hua's expression turned cold. He got up and walked out of the hall. These guys probably came with ill intentions. They want to destroy our Heavenly Bull Divine sect in one fell swoop. Humph. Even if the Divine Wood Imperial family is strong, we're not easy to bully. This battle is inevitable. It's good that they came earlier. I can kill to my heart's content. These guys really think that we're easy to bully. I'll make a trip to the Divine Wood Imperial family later. While Hall Master Hua and the others were talking, they arrived outside the hall and looked into the sky. But with one look, their expressions turned heavy. Because they discovered that the lineup that came to invade the Heavenly Bull Divine sect this time was too terrifying. More importantly, they discovered that there were powerhouses from the Blood Soul Galaxy in the Divine Wood Imperial family's camp. The Divine Wood Imperial family and the Blood Soul Imperial family have indeed joined forces. What Qingyun said was true. Seeing the situation in the sky, Guang Ping frowned and thought of Emo Qingyun's previous report. While Guang Ping was thinking, a group of people in black robes in the sky attracted his attention. He said, "If I'm not wrong, this group of people should be from the Lonely Soul sect. The situation doesn't look too good. The enemy's strength is too strong. We can't fight them head-on. Guard the sect protection array with all your strength." Seeing the lineup of the Divine Wood Imperial family, Huang Gang immediately instructed everyone to personally lead the array. Under Huang Gang's instructions, Guang Ping and the others all entered the array and raised the array's power. With the addition of Huang Gang and the others, the power of the sect protection array immediately increased by several times. Immediately, the attacks of the Divine Wood Imperial family and the others were barely blocked. However, such a situation could not last long. The array would break sooner or later. This can't go on. We have to think of a way to evacuate. Seeing the situation of the array, Huang Gang revealed a worried expression and said to Tai Balong beside him, "Tai Balong, make a trip to Emo Qingyun's cave and think of a way to take him out of the sect." "Yes." Tai Balong nodded. Chapter 2648. Before long, Tai Balong arrived in front of Emo Qingyun's cave abode in a hurry. When he arrived outside Emo Qingyun's cave dwelling, Tai Balong did not stop and directly entered the cave dwelling. To his surprise, Emo Qingyun was not in the cave dwelling. The entire cave dwelling was empty. "He's not here." Tai Balong frowned when he could not find Emo Qingyun in the cave dwelling. He was anxious. Emo Qingyun's disappearance at such a critical time was a headache. This kid is really restless. Where did he run off to? Tai Balong sighed. He was like a headless fly, pacing back and forth in the cave dwelling. Emo Qingyun was not in the cave dwelling. He must be in a secluded place, quietly cultivating and healing his injuries. However, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect was so big and Emo Qingyun was deliberately hiding. It was impossible to find him in a short time. I better go back first and report to Supreme Elder Huang Gang. Tai Balong waited for a while, but he didn't stay any longer. He went back to report Emo Qingyun's news. However, before Tai Balong left, he left behind a letter. He asked Emo Qingyun to meet up with them immediately after he returned so that they could escort him out. Not long after, Tai Balong returned to Huang Gang and explained the situation. This kid, Sai. Hearing that Emo Qingyun was missing, Huang Gang smiled bitterly and could not help but sigh. Clearly, he felt a headache coming on because of Emo Qingyun's actions. Forget it, let's ignore Qingyun for now and focus on dealing with the Divine Wood Imperial family. Huang Gang was very decisive. After thinking for a while, he came to a decision. Now was not the time to be distracted. Dealing with the Divine Wood Imperial family was more important. Soon after, under Huang Gang's instructions, everyone focused on controlling the sect's protective array. In this way, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect and the Divine Wood Imperial family fell into a stalemate. On the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun knew nothing about the Heavenly Bull Divine sect's situation. After several hours of hard work, he could finally break through to the Celestial Domain grade. Condense. With a thought, Emo Qingyun tried to condense the Saint Power star field with the 20,000 Saint Power star clusters as the foundation. Along with the evolution of the Saint Power star cluster, a vast power was derived from it. At the same time, a miniature star domain was slowly forming. This process of evolution continued for several hours before it slowly came to a stop. Success. Seeing that the Saint Power starfield had successfully evolved, Emo Qingyun's face lit up with joy and an excited smile appeared on his face. While Emo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised, he discovered that every planet in the Saint Power starfield had living creatures. This discovery shocked him quite a bit. This was something he had never seen before. As far as he could remember, there were no living creatures in the Saint Power starfield. What star field is this? Looking at his Saint Power starfield, Emo Qingyun was puzzled and had a strong sense of curiosity. While Emo Qingyun was curious, he summoned Luo Jian over to ask about the Saint Power starfield. Luo Jian was summoned over. When he saw Emo Qingyun's Saint Power starfield, he was instantly stunned. Taisher starfield, this is the Taisher starfield. Seeing Emo Qingyun's starfield, Luo Jian revealed a look of astonishment, a look of disbelief. Hearing Luo Jian's words, Emo Qingyun's expression became even more puzzled. He asked, "What is the Taisher starfield? What is its ranking in the Saint Power starfield?" "Master, the Taisher starfield only exists in legends. I have never seen it before." Luo Jian immediately shook his head in response to Emo Qingyun's question and answered Emo Qingyun, "I only heard that the Taisher starfield is the embryonic form of the myriad worlds. If it continues to evolve, it will become the myriad world." "So that's how it is." Luo Jian's answer also shocked Emo Qingyun. He had never thought that his Saint Power starfield would have such a background. While Emo Qingyun was shocked, Luo Jian revealed a solemn expression and said, "Master, it's best that you don't expose your primal beginning starfield. Otherwise, if world lords and emperors find out about it, they won't be happy and will pay any price to seize your primal beginning starfield." Hearing Luo Jian's words, Emo Qingyun's expression became tense. He knew that his Saint Power starfield was very powerful. Okay. After understanding the situation of the Saint Power starfield, Emo Qingyun waved his hand and said, "All right, there's nothing else. You can continue to cultivate." "Yes." Luo Jian nodded and left. After instructing Luo Jian to leave, Emo Qingyun observed the Saint Power starfield for a while before putting it back into his body. Then, Emo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation again to stabilize his newly broken realm. In addition, he also wanted to familiarize himself with his strength so that he could use it better. This cultivation session lasted for half a day. After half a day of cultivation, the realm he had just broken through was finally completely stabilized. Not only that, Emo Qingyun had also completely adapted to his strength. "Since my cultivation has stabilized, it's time to leave the Fortune mainland." Seeing his situation, Emo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer and prepared to return to the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. He knew very well that the Divine Wood Imperial family would not give up so easily. There was no guarantee that they would not take revenge on the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to leave, the Gate of Fortune suddenly moved. This kind of movement, could it be that a new divine ability is evolving? Sensing the movement of the Gate of Fortune, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and had a strong sense of anticipation. Then, he no longer hesitated and immediately observed the situation of the Gate of Fortune. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, the Gate of Fortune was quickly found and appeared in front of his consciousness. At this moment, the Gate of Fortune was completely open, and dazzling light bloomed from the inside. Upon closer inspection, Huang Xiaolong could see that there was a small light door forming inside the Gate of Fortune. Not long after, an indistinct door of light flew out from the Gate of Destinies. Looking at this looming light door, Mo Qingyun was the first to become excited. This was the newly evolved divine ability of his martial spirit. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun quickly observed it and checked its information. This is a spatial gate. After observing for a while, Mo Qingyun clearly understood the newly evolved divine ability of the Gate of Fortune. By activating the spatial gate, one could freely use one kind of space law. More importantly, even if one comprehended space law in the future, the two kinds of space law could be stacked. In this way, the power of the spatial gate was a little abnormal. After receiving this information, even though Mo Qingyun was prepared, he was still shocked. He had to admit that this divine ability of his martial spirit was too powerful. He really did not expect that the newly evolved divine ability of the Gate of Fortune would be so powerful. Chapter 2649. In that case, it's time to settle the score with the Divine Wood Royal family. Now that there was a spatial gate, the apprehension in Mo Qingyun's heart vanished completely. With his current strength, he was confident that he could fight Wang Kai and the others. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland and returned to his cave. As Senior Tai Balong left a message. The Divine Wood Royal family is attacking again. Mo Qingyun was surprised when he saw Tai Balong's message when he returned to his cave. He had not expected that the Divine Wood Royal family would attack again. They really couldn't wait any longer. It's good that they came early. We can settle our grudges earlier. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself and walked out of the cave to find Tai Balong and the others. Before long, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Huang Gang and asked, "Master, what's the situation now? How is the Divine Wood Royal family's strength? You finally came out." Huang Gang did not pretend to be unhappy when he saw Mo Qingyun. He glared at him and said, "If you hadn't come out, we wouldn't have been able to hold on any longer. We would have had to abandon the sect and flee. I was delayed because I was cultivating." Mo Qingyun gave a simple explanation for Huang Gang's reproach. Huang Gang did not really blame Mo Qingyun. After listening to Mo Qingyun's explanation, he said, "The Divine Wood Royal family is very strong. They have more than 10 quasi-universe-grade powerhouses who have comprehended the spatial laws. This is double the number of our divine Heavenly Bull sect. Given the current situation of the sect's great defensive array, it probably won't be able to hold on for long before they break through. There are more than 10 quasi-universe-grade powerhouses who have comprehended the spatial laws." Mo Qingyun frowned when he heard Huang Gang's words. He was puzzled and said, "Although the Divine Wood Royal family is strong, they are only slightly stronger than the Divine Heavenly Bull sect. It's impossible for them to have so many experts. Could they have the help of other forces? There are also people from the Blood Soul Galaxy and the Solitary Soul sect." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was puzzled, Zhang Ji explained to him. Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding after hearing this answer from Zhang Ji. It looks like the Divine Wood Royal family has made up their mind to deal with the Divine Heavenly Bull sect. Kid, you already know the situation. Leave with Tai Baoang and the others. After explaining the situation to Mo Qingyun, Huang Gang revealed an impatient expression and urged Mo Qingyun. Leave? After hearing Huang Gang's words, Mo Qingyun pondered for a bit and understood his intentions. He shook his head and said, Right now, the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect is in a life and death situation. How can I escape alone and drag out an ignoble existence? Besides, this is the territory of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. How could it be the Divine Wood Imperial family's turn to behave atrociously? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Gang and the others were touched. Their expressions were filled with gratification. Under such circumstances, Mo Qingyun was still able to have such thoughts. It was not in vain that they valued Mo Qingyun. The Divine Wood Imperial family is too strong. If we face them head-on, we will only be exterminated. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was unwilling to leave, Huang Gang revealed an anxious expression and tried to persuade him again. You are the hope of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. As long as you are alive, the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect will have hope of rebuilding and returning to its former glory. As for us, we have already thought about sacrificing ourselves for the sect since the day we entered. Upon hearing Huang Gang's words, some of the elders revealed resolute expressions. Seeing the expressions of Huang Gang and the others, Mo Qingyun felt some admiration. He smiled faintly at them and said, Master, seniors, don't be too pessimistic. The situation isn't that bad. It's not like we don't have the strength to resist. When Mo Qingyun said that, Huang Gang and the others were shocked. Curiosity appeared on their faces. They all wanted to hear what basis Mo Qingyun had for daring to say that. Under everyone's expectant gazes, Mo Qingyun pointed to the sky above the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect and said, I feel that since they want to come in, let them come in. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone was even more puzzled. Letting the people from the Divine Wood Imperial family in, wasn't that the same as letting a wolf into the house? If we blindly resist now, once the sect-protecting formation is broken, we will truly be in a passive position. Ignoring everyone's puzzlement, Mo Qingyun did not stop talking. He continued to express his opinion, if we let them in now, we can use the sect-protecting formation to suppress them and weaken a portion of their strength so that we can deal with the others. After Mo Qingyun's explanation, the eyes of Huang Gang and the others lit up. They all felt that this was a good idea. I feel that we can try Qingyun's idea. Looking at the current situation, we will have to fight with the Divine Wood Imperial camp anyway. It is indeed better to retreat in order to advance. Yeah, once the sect-protecting formation is broken, we will truly be in a passive position. Some of the elders nodded in agreement when they heard that. Hearing everyone's words, Huang Gang and the others discussed for a while before they opened the formation. However, what surprised them was that when they opened the sect-protecting formation, the Divine Wood Imperial family actually stopped attacking. This result caught Mo Qingyun and the others by surprise. They were caught off guard. Could it be that our intentions were seen through by the Divine Wood Imperial family? Looking at the Divine Wood Imperial family who did not make a move, Huang Gang's brows furrowed tightly as he voiced his doubts. Hearing Huang Gang's guess, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, It's not that they saw through our intentions. The reason why they stopped attacking should be that our actions are too abnormal, making them a little wary. Qingyun, what do we do now? Knowing the current situation, Huang Gang revealed an anxious look and hurriedly asked Mo Qingyun. He knew very well that once the Divine Wood Imperial family figured it out, they would attack even more fiercely. Hearing Huang Gang's question, Mo Qingyun frowned and said, Since the other party isn't taking the initiative, then we'll take the initiative. We have to take the initiative. Knowing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Huang Gang and the others were shocked and felt that their brains were a little short. They were the weaker party. If they took the initiative to attack, wouldn't they be walking right into a trap? Seeing the performance of Huang Gang and the others, Mo Qingyun immediately guessed their thoughts and said, "In a battle between two armies, momentum is very important. Now that our momentum has the upper hand, we have to use this advantage to weaken a portion of the other party's strength." Huang Gang and the others nodded in agreement. However, they were more curious about what method Mo Qingyun had in mind when he said all this. Under the gaze of Huang Gang and the others, Mo Qingyun did not stop talking and said, "I have a simple plan to deplete their combat strength. We'll have an arena battle with them. The method is the same as Wang Kai's suggestion last time." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Gang and the others were even more puzzled. In an arena battle, they would not have the advantage, and it would be easy for their strength to be depleted. Chapter 2650. Qingyun, I think this method is a little inappropriate. After hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, Huang Gang immediately voiced his opinion and expressed his confusion. Guang Ping and the others nodded in agreement when they heard that. Huang Gang thought for a moment and added, "We only have a total of 6 people who have comprehended the law of space on our side, not even half of the opponent. If we let the opponent exhaust a few of us in the arena battle, wouldn't we have no combat power in the future?" Indeed. Hall Master Hua and the others nodded in agreement. They also thought so in their hearts. Mo Qingyun was not surprised by the reaction of Hall Master Hua and the others. Under normal circumstances, if both sides were to engage in an arena battle, it would indeed develop in this way. However, there was an unforeseen event now, and it was him, the anomaly. And it was because of him that his plan could be carried out. After all, no one knew how much his strength had improved during his closed-door cultivation this time. Otherwise, if the Divine Wood Imperial family knew of his strength, they would not have agreed to the arena battle. I've already considered the situation that you've mentioned. There's no need to worry about it. Mo Qingyun nodded calmly and comforted everyone before continuing. It's precisely because you think that this is disadvantageous to us that the Divine Wood Imperial family agreed. Otherwise, it won't benefit them at all. They won't accept the arena battle when they have an absolute advantage. Huang Gang and the others nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's point of view. They felt that what he said was true. If there were no benefits at all, with the wisdom of the Divine Wood Imperial family and the others, they would definitely not accept the arena battle. Qingyun, why don't you tell us the specifics of how to implement it? This plan is too bold. Let me make some preparations first. Everyone was curious and asked Mo Qingyun one after another. Hearing everyone's inquiry, Mo Qingyun pretended to smile mysteriously and said, "Actually, my plan is nothing special. It's only because of me." "Because of you?" Everyone was puzzled and did not understand what Mo Qingyun meant. Mo Qingyun did not answer everyone's puzzlement. He kept them in suspense and said, "You'll naturally know when we fight later. Since you're confident, let's do as you say." Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Guang Ping trusted him and did not ask any further questions. Seeing that Guang Ping and the rest did not ask any more questions, Mo Qingyun walked out of the crowd and looked at the people from the Divine Wood Imperial family in the sky. He said, "Members of the Divine Wood Imperial family, listen up. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Just like last time, we will have a bet. If you win, I will leave with you." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the members of the Divine Wood Royal family immediately started chatting. From the looks of it, they seemed rather interested in Mo Qingyun's suggestion. "Qingyun, what if they don't agree?" Looking at the people from the Divine Wood Royal family in the air, Guang Ping felt somewhat worried and asked about Mo Qingyun's backup plan. Upon hearing Guang Ping's words, Mo Qingyun smiled calmly and said, "If they don't agree, I will make a trip to the Divine Wood Royal family and give them a gift in return." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Gang and the others laughed heartily and gave Mo Qingyun a thumbs up. Clearly, they approved of Mo Qingyun's idea. While Emo Qingyun and the others were discussing, the Divine Wood royal family came to a decision and accepted Emo Qingyun's suggestion. Guang Ping, who is on your side? Ask them to step forward. When the Divine Wood royal family accepted the challenge, Wang Kai asked Guang Ping with a dark expression. As Wang Kai asked this question, 3 people from the Divine Wood royal family stepped forward. Wang Chuani. It's actually him. This fellow was already a half-step universe grade 10,000 years ago. That's Lu Yangwei. That old fellow is actually still alive. The situation isn't looking good. The real troublesome person is that old man in black robes. He is a universe realm powerhouse. Hall Master Hua and the others had grave expressions on their faces when they saw the Divine Wood royal family's representative. Clearly, the Divine Wood royal family's representative was very strong. Hearing the words of Huang Gang and the others, Emo Qingyun frowned and asked curiously, Universe realm? What kind of boundary is that? The universe realm is divided into 2 levels, the universe realm and the eternity realm. They comprehend space and time nomological laws respectively. Hall Master Hua explained to Emo Qingyun with a grave expression. He then explained to Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun immediately understood after listening to Hall Master Hua's explanation. It seemed like those who comprehended space nomological laws were universe realm powerhouses. As for those who comprehended time nomological laws, they were eternity realm powerhouses. In that case, the universe-grade powerhouses that Emo Qingyun had thought of were just universe realm powerhouses. Who is on our side? Hall Master Hua and the others had grave expressions on their faces when they saw the Divine Wood royal family's representative. They weren't confident that they would be able to take on any one of the 3 opponents. Wang Kai smirked when he saw that the Heavenly Bull Divine sect hadn't sent anyone out for a long time. Guang Ping, you guys were the ones who suggested this challenge. Why are you cowering now? They definitely didn't expect that we would have so many powerhouses on our side. Is this what everyone means by lifting a rock only to drop it on your own feet? This isn't shooting yourself in the foot. It's shooting yourself in the head. That's right. Why would they make such a suggestion if there was nothing wrong with their heads? The people from the Divine Wood royal family were all laughing proudly. Hall Master Hua and the others had ugly expressions on their faces when they saw the Divine Wood royal family's performance. How about this? Let me, Huang Gang and Tai Hong go out. The rest of you should be careful and observe. Hall Master Hua pondered for a moment before naming a representative, indicating that he wanted to go out as well. Guang Ping and the others nodded in agreement when they heard Hall Master Hua's arrangement. When everyone nodded in agreement, Emo Qingyun waved his hands and said, Don't worry, everyone. I'll go out alone. You guys wait and see. You? Everyone was stunned. Emo Qingyun's words had frightened them. They knew that Emo Qingyun wasn't weak. But in front of such a powerhouse, Emo Qingyun's foundation was still lacking. Of course, I was the one who suggested it. Of course, I'll go out and fight. Emo Qingyun smiled faintly at everyone's surprise. I've already said that I'm the key in this arena. How can I not go out and fight? As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he flew out and arrived outside the Great Sect Protection Array. Everyone, I'll be the vanguard. Who wants to die first? Glancing at the people from the Divine Wood royal family, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with contempt as he taunted them. Chapter 26:51. This kid is too arrogant. I'll go and teach him a lesson. Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's arrogant words, Wang Chuani shouted angrily and chose to take the lead. Wang Kai and the others didn't stop Wang Chuani. They were all furious at the moment. An early-stage Star Sector-level kid had actually dared to provoke them. He was simply courting death. The weakest one has come. Let him warm up first. Seeing Wang Chuani walk out, Emo Qingyun pretended to mock him contemptuously. In his opinion, it was good that Wang Chuani took the field. He didn't want to be too strong and frighten the people behind him. Kid, do you know the consequences of infuriating me? Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's mocking words, Wang Chuani's face darkened as he questioned Mo Qingyun coldly. At this moment, he was really angry and wanted to kill Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun chose to ignore his anger and said, "Are you going to say that I'm courting death because I've infuriated you?" Mo Qingyun's answer stunned Wang Chuani. He didn't know how to answer for a moment. He hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun would say what he was thinking so directly. "Humph, sharp-tongued kid. Let me see what you're capable of." Seeing that he wasn't a match for Mo Qingyun in terms of talking, Wang Chuani decided not to say anything more. Wang Chuani's figure moved. He arrived in front of Mo Qingyun and slashed at Mo Qingyun. Raging flame turbulence slash. As Wang Chuani slashed out, flames surged on the blade and a blazing blade light blasted out. The blade light flashed as it shot toward Mo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. Flame attacks don't pose any threat to me. In the face of Wang Chuani's attack, Mo Qingyun curled his lips contemptuously and revealed a disdainful expression. When Mo Qingyun mocked him, he didn't let his guard down and immediately activated his saint body. Sword energy. Nebula saint cloth. Thunder fire dragon sacred body. As Mo Qingyun activated his saintly body, the power of thunder and fire burst out from his body. At the same time, he activated his Nebula Saint robe and sword intent to increase his defense. Although he spoke with contempt, he did not dare to be careless. After all, Wang Chuani's strength was unfathomable. In the face of such an expert, if he still dared to be careless, then he would be playing with his life. Flaming Bull Meteor Slash. Looking at the rapidly approaching saber gleam, Mo Qingyun wielded the Nine Bull Divine sword and directly slashed at it. Under Mo Qingyun's sword, the sky and earth instantly changed colors, turning into a world of flames. Then, one by one, the flaming sword lights fell from the sky. Bang bang bang. The flaming sword radiance fell and blocked the flaming saber radiance, creating a loud noise. In just a moment, Wang Chuani's saber light was blocked by Mo Qingyun. "How's my ability?" After blocking Wang Chuani's saber light, Mo Qingyun smiled contemptuously and said, "But your ability doesn't seem to be much. It's difficult for me to even warm up." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure moved and rushed towards Wang Chuani. When Mo Qingyun rushed towards Wang Chuani, he waved the Nine Bull Divine sword and slashed out a sword light. A golden sword light flashed and quickly arrived in front of Wang Chuani, slashing towards his head. Insignificant skill. Looking at the incoming sword light, Wang Chuani smiled contemptuously and did not pay much attention to it. This was because Mo Qingyun's sword did not have a strong aura. It felt very ordinary. Wang Chuani sneered. He did not turn a blind eye to it and casually raised his hand to block it. Seeing Wang Chuani's action, Wang Kai's expression immediately trembled. He panicked and said, "Uncle Chuani, be careful. That kid's divine ability is very strange. You can't use common sense to judge him." Before Wang Kai could finish his words, he saw Wang Chuani's body being slashed apart by Mo Qingyun's sword. Seeing this, Wang Kai's face immediately trembled and his heart sank to the bottom. In the end, Wang Chuani had fallen into Mo Qingyun's trap. What's going on? What divine ability did that kid use? Oh no, Chuani is in danger. Let's hurry and rescue him. It's too late. That kid already planned this and did not give us a chance to rescue him. That treacherous kid. We've been tricked. Wang Kai and the others gritted their teeth when they saw that Mo Qingyun had destroyed Wang Chuani's spiritual soul. They did not expect that they would lose an expert in such a short period of time. Wang Chuani was killed? Seeing Wang Chuani's death, Palace Master Hua was shocked. He felt that it was a little unreal. This result was far beyond his expectations. He had originally thought that Mo Qingyun's plan was only to severely injure Wang Chuani and the others. What he had not expected was that Mo Qingyun would kill Wang Chuani the moment he made his move. It had to be said that this result was too frightening. This kind of battle record could be considered heaven-defying. Based on their understanding, quasi-universe-grade powerhouses rarely died unless there was a huge disparity in strength. This kid is indeed reliable. He really did not disappoint me. He got rid of Wang Chuani first. No matter what happens next, he will have profited from this arena battle. That's right. This way, the disparity in strength between the two sides will be smaller. I guess Wang Kai and the others must be feeling really good right now. A powerhouse dying right at the start of the battle must be a wonderful feeling. Huang Gang and the others were very excited when they saw this battle record. They were all smiling. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly as he hovered in midair. He glanced at Wang Kai and the others and said, "Sorry, this is a small victory." Who's up next? The members of the Sacred Wood royal family tensed up when they heard Mo Qingyun's challenge again. After the previous exchange, they could already tell that Mo Qingyun's strength wasn't simple. Otherwise, even if Wang Chuani had been careless, he wouldn't have been killed instantly. "I'll go." Lu Yangwei moved his dying body and slowly approached Mo Qingyun when he heard the crowd's conversation. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw Lu Yangwei approach. He immediately raised his guard. Although the old man before him was lethargic, he gave off a very dangerous vibe. "Old man, you are already half dead. Aren't you going to cherish your remaining life?" Mo Qingyun glanced at Lu Yangwei. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he teased him. What disappointed Mo Qingyun was that Lu Yangwei did not seem to care about his words. She smiled faintly and said, "You are right. I am indeed half dead. Therefore, I want to drag a few people down with me before I die." "Are you afraid?" "Afraid, very afraid." Hearing Lu Yangwei's words, Mo Qingyun did not hide it at all and replied with a faint smile. He immediately became even more vigilant and didn't dare be careless. Chapter 26:52. Lu Yangwei was lethargic. It was obvious that he didn't have much time left. Mo Qingyun was a little afraid when facing such a guy. He was worried that he would take him down with him. Just as Lu Yangwei said, he didn't have much time left. He would be lucky if he could drag a few people down with him. "Little guy, I heard that you like to fight with your life. Let me play with you." After sizing up Mo Qingyun, Lu Yangwei sneered and launched an attack on Mo Qingyun. Lu Yangwei's attack was very fierce. He looked like he was going to trade his life for his life. It was as if he wanted to drag Mo Qingyun down with him. 10,000 elephants, Sumeru fist. Lu Yangwei's figure flashed rapidly. He attacked Mo Qingyun crazily and blasted out powerful fist shadows. Then, Mo Qingyun was enveloped by thousands of fist shadows and fell into a dangerous situation. Sword energy rise. Nebula Saint Cloth. Facing Lu Yangwei's attack, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless. He immediately took out the sword energy. When he took out the sword energy, Mo Qingyun also activated the Nebula Saint Cloth to increase his defense. As for the Thunder Fire Dragon Sacred Body, Mo Qingyun didn't activate it. It didn't have much resistance to Lu Yangwei's attack. Bang, bang, bang. Under the bombardment of the sword energy, the fist shadows that were smashing toward Mo Qingyun were scattered one after another. In a short while, more than half of the thousands of fist shadows that were blasting toward Mo Qingyun were destroyed by the sword energy. Under the defense of the sword energy, although Lu Yangwei's attack was fierce, it couldn't hurt Mo Qingyun. What a powerful sword energy! Seeing the defensive power of the sword energy, Lu Yangwei was surprised. He had a higher opinion of Mo Qingyun. Immediately, he strengthened his attack and appeared to be even more desperate. Facing Lu Yangwei's crazy attack, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He was thinking about how to get rid of him. Emo Qingyun was a little worried that Lu Yongwei would self-destruct if he kept fighting in close quarters. That's not right. If this old man really wanted to go all out, he could have just self-destructed. There's no need for him to go through so much trouble. Just as Emo Qingyun was worrying, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind, and he made an important discovery. He said, "Also, this guy's primordial spirit is full of vitality, and can completely seize another body to cultivate anew. How could he be willing to die?" When Emo Qingyun noticed this, a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The worry in his heart completely disappeared. In his opinion, Lu Yongwei's desperate stance was just a way of fighting. If he really had to risk his life, he probably wouldn't dare. "Old man, you only have half of your life left. Are you tired of attacking so desperately?" Understanding Lu Yongwei's intentions, Emo Qingyun smiled mockingly. His expression gradually turned cold as he said, "You've been attacking for so long. You should take a good rest. It's my turn to attack." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he stopped retreating and took the initiative to attack Lu Yongwei. Mad Bull Bursting Flame Slash. Flaming Bull Meteor Slash. Taurus Heaven Breaking Slash. Poisonous Bull Abdominal Water Sword. For a moment, Emo Qingyun displayed all sorts of fierce sword moves. As the various sword moves were displayed, bull shadows with violent auras appeared one after another in the air. Faced with the attacks of the bull shadows and sword lights, Lu Yongwei fell into a passive position. Some panic appeared on his face. He could feel that these sword lights were very powerful, enough to destroy his body in one blow. "Kid, are you not afraid of death? Do you really want to die together with me?" Seeing Emo Qingyun's frenzied attacks, Lu Yongwei's expression became tense, and he said something shocking. He then said, "Don't forget that I don't have much time left. It's not worth it for you to risk your life with me." At this moment, Lu Yongwei was clearly afraid. He no longer concealed his fear of death. He really didn't expect that Emo Qingyun, who had been cowering just now, would become unafraid of death in the blink of an eye. He was very unaccustomed to such a drastic change. "Whether it's worth it or not is my business. You don't have to worry about it." In response to Lu Yongwei's question, Emo Qingyun responded with a faint smile. He then said, "But didn't you want to risk your life with me just now? Why are you dodging left and right now? Are you afraid?" Seeing that his intentions were exposed by Emo Qingyun, Lu Yongwei was immediately at a loss for words. He didn't want to die yet. He still wanted to reincarnate and cultivate again. It was just that he hadn't found a suitable physical body. His performance just now was just an excuse to make Emo Qingyun worry about him when he was in his twilight years. What he didn't expect was that his intentions were seen through. "It seems that I've guessed correctly. You are indeed bluffing." Seeing Lu Yongwei's performance, Emo Qingyun grinned and mocked him. Immediately, Emo Qingyun's attacks became even more ferocious. They were even more frenzied than Lu Yongwei's. Emo Qingyun simply didn't block some of Lu Yongwei's attacks and allowed them to land on his body. Although Emo Qingyun suffered some injuries from Lu Yongwei's attacks, Lu Yongwei didn't have it easy either. Because of the Nebula Saint Cloth, Emo Qingyun suffered some attacks and Lu Yongwei also suffered some recoil injuries. Most importantly, Emo Qingyun's bloodline power had a strong recovery ability. Although Emo Qingyun suffered some injuries, under the recovery of his bloodline power, they were soon no longer a hindrance. But it was different for Lu Yongwei. His body was in a half-crippled state and he couldn't recover from his injuries at all. Under the continuous recoil injuries, his body was completely crippled. This brat's Nebula Saint Cloth actually has the ability to reflect injuries. Seeing his situation, Lu Yongwei's face darkened and he gritted his teeth in anger. In this confrontation, he was tricked by Emo Qingyun again. Although he didn't want to admit it, He had to admit that Emo Qingyun's nebulous saint cloth just happened to counter him. After understanding his situation, Lu Yangwei lost all his fighting spirit and didn't want to continue fighting. He had no choice. His body was completely destroyed and he couldn't even unleash 30% of his strength. If he continued to fight, he would only be crushed by Emo Qingyun. He might even die here. Retreat. With the intention to retreat, Lu Yangwei no longer hesitated and fled towards the Divine Wood royal family. In his opinion, there was no need to be anxious after losing a battle. It would be terrible if he was killed like Wang Chuani. Old man, you have to be trustworthy. It's not good to go back on your words. Seeing that Lu Yangwei had lost all will to fight, a cold smile appeared on Emo Qingyun's face as he mocked him again. Although Emo Qingyun mocked him, his attacks didn't seem to be the slightest. Instead, they became more and more fierce. Ignore defense. Shadow Ox Gale Moonlight / Thunder Ox Heaven Punishing / Sun Ox Spirit Destroying Spike. Emo Qingyun swung his sword a few more times, slashing out sword beams. These sword beams, under the enhancement of the Ignore Defense divine ability, immediately increased their power by several levels. Soon, these sword beams arrived in front of Lu Yangwei, cutting off his path of retreat. Seeing such a scene, Lu Yangwei's expression trembled and his face turned pale. Chapter 2653. 10,000 Mammoth Seal. In the face of the incoming sword gleam, Lu Yangwei immediately channeled his saint power and blasted it forward. When the saint power burst out, it turned into black ancient seals and formed an ancient seal turtle shell. Then, the ancient seal turtle shell enveloped Lu Yangwei and formed a black shield. In the face of the turtle shell's defense, the sword gleam directly penetrated and blasted Lu Yangwei's body domineeringly. Under the bombardment of the sword gleam, Lu Yangwei's body was directly cut into pieces. Seeing that his body was destroyed, Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit immediately escaped from his body. Immediately, his primordial spirit's face was filled with horror as he widened his eyes and looked at the scene in disbelief. He could not believe that his strongest defensive divine ability could not block Emo Qingyun's sword move. Your divine ability can ignore any defense. Lu Yangwei was old and shrewd. He thought for a moment and guessed the reason. Then, he looked at Emo Qingyun with a strong sense of fear in his eyes. Emo Qingyun was far more terrifying than he had expected. This time, he was a little too careless. Run! Seeing his situation, Lu Yangwei no longer hesitated and immediately fled toward the Divine Wood royal family. At this moment, all he wanted was to use the power of Wang Kai and the others to protect him. Emo Qingyun sneered when he saw Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit running for its life. He had already expected this. Die, old man! Seeing Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit fleeing, Emo Qingyun swung his sword and slashed out a cold sword gleam. The cold sword gleam shot out and as if it was calculated, it just happened to hit Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit. After being hit by the sword gleam, Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit was directly split into two. Then, Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit began to collapse, showing a pained expression. The Dark Bull Soul Vanquishing Sword technique specializes in attacking the primordial spirit. You can go in peace. After slashing Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit, Emo Qingyun calmly announced Lu Yangwei's death. Before long, Lu Yangwei's primordial spirit slowly dissipated from the world with unwillingness. Thus, another powerhouse who had comprehended the laws of space was unwillingly killed by Emo Qingyun's sword. After killing Lu Yangwei, Emo Qingyun did not say anything. He sat cross-legged in midair to heal himself. When he was fighting with Lu Yangwei just now, he had forcefully withstood several of her attacks and suffered some minor injuries. Therefore, it was necessary to take advantage of this opportunity to recover. The reason for that was because he could sense that the remaining black-robed man was stronger than Lu Yangwei. Looking at Mo Qingyun sitting cross-legged and recuperating, Wang Kai and the others were dumbfounded. They did not expect that even Lu Yongwei would be killed by Mo Qingyun when she stepped out to fight. Old state teacher Lu is also dead. Wang Kai's face was pale, his expression was trembling, and his heart was in his throat. In less than a quarter of an hour, two powerhouses who had comprehended the law of space had been killed in front of him. Although the Divine Wood Imperial family's strength was not weak, losing two such powerhouses would also be somewhat too much to bear. This boy is so strong. Continuing to grow will cause endless trouble in the future. Seeing the strength that Mo Qingyun displayed, the Blood Soul Galaxy's powerhouses had heavy expressions, looking at Wang Kai and the rest sympathetically. The Divine Wood Imperial family offending Mo Qingyun was truly a lamentable thing. Lord Ziwang, what do we do next? Looking at the black-robed man beside him, Wang Kai revealed a look of awe and inquired about his plans. Hearing Wang Kai's words, the black-robed man's expression turned grim as he said, I didn't expect that this boy grew up so quickly. No wonder young Lord Qing Rong cares so much about him. Ziwang muttered to himself. He no longer hesitated and flew over toward Mo Qingyun. Seeing Ziwang take action, Wang Kai's expression eased up. His hanging heart eased up slightly. In his view, with Ziwang personally taking action, he should be able to kill Mo Qingyun. While Wang Kai and the rest had heavy hearts, Huang Gang and the rest had joyful looks on their faces, all of them extremely excited. We've profited big time. Killing two powerhouses of the Divine Wood Imperial family in an arena battle. It's really unimaginable. Qingyun's plan is really too perfect. Now, it can be said that we've profited big time. Next, even if it's a head-on battle, we won't be in a passive position anymore. Seeing Lu Yongwei duo killed, the originally worried Huang Gang and the rest were now filled with fighting spirit. At this moment, even Palace Master Hua, who was usually reserved in speech and manner, revealed a brilliant smile. Clearly, he was also very satisfied with such a situation. While Hall Master Hua was rejoicing in his heart, he also had some worries and said, that black-robed man's strength has already reached the level of universe realm. I'm afraid that it will be very difficult for Qin Yun to contend with him. Why don't we let Qin Yun come back? In any case, we've already profited big time. Hearing Hall Master Hua's concerns, Guang Ping smiled wickedly. Clearly, he wanted to quit while he was ahead. Knowing Guang Ping's thoughts, Huang Gang and the rest nodded in agreement. They felt that it was a good idea. Hall Master Hua pondered for a moment about Guang Ping and the rest's thoughts and said, looking at Qin Yun's appearance, it seems that he still has some strength left. He should still have a trump card that he hasn't used. Let's continue to observe. Hearing Hall Master Hua's words, Huang Gang and the rest nodded and did not persuade Mo Qingyun to withdraw. However, at this moment, they were all on guard and prepared to rescue Mo Qingyun at any time. Although they believed in Mo Qingyun, Ziwang's strength was too strong. They did not dare to relax in the slightest. Under the gaze of Hall Master Hua and the rest, Mo Qingyun slowly opened his eyes and withdrew from his cultivation. Dark devil race from the outer realm? Looking at the approaching Ziwang, Mo Qingyun felt his bloodline aura and frowned. This was the first time he had encountered the dark devil race from the outer realm since he came to the galaxy. Although the people from the Lonely Soul sect had bloodlines planted in their bodies, they were far from being as pure as this person in front of him. To be precise, the people from the Lonely Soul sect could not be considered as part of the dark devil race. You are Mo Qingyun. You do have some ability. Ziwang did not answer Mo Qingyun's question and asked a question that he already knew the answer to. He then said, I didn't expect you to grow to this extent in such a short time. No wonder the young lord thinks so highly of you. Zi Qingrong is indeed still alive. Hearing Ziwang's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He was not surprised. After exchanging a few words with Mo Qingyun, Zi Wang's expression turned solemn and he said coldly, Mo Qingyun, young lord thinks highly of you. If you are willing to join our sacred race, he is willing to let bygones be bygones and give you a heavy responsibility. I am honored that Zi Qingrong thinks so highly of me. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at Zi Wang's words as if he was overwhelmed by the favor. However, as soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his expression turned cold. Unfortunately, ever since Zi Yunxiao injured Ling Long, the Dark Devil race and I will not rest until one of us is dead. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Zi Wang's face darkened and he emitted a wave of anger. Chapter 2654. Say no more. Let's fight with all our might. Mo Qingyun, who didn't care about Zi Wang's anger, took the initiative to attack him. Mo Qingyun brandished the Nine-Bull Divine sword at Zi Wang rapidly, slashing out streaks of imposing sword light. The streaks of sword light were like raging bulls that bombarded Zi Wang. Insignificant tricks. Zi Wang's expression remained unchanged as he faced the sword light that was rapidly approaching him. He casually blasted out a palm strike. When Zi Wang made his move, an astonishing spatial power erupted from his palm. Spatial deviation. The space in front of Zi Wang trembled violently due to the power of his palm strike. Then, the sword light attacking him completely disappeared. When the sword light appeared again, it was already in front of Mo Qingyun and bombarded him. Mo Qingyun was startled when he saw this. He immediately took out his sword intent to defend himself. Bang! 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 Under the attack of the sword aura, the sword lights that were attacking Mo Qingyun were all blocked. Mo Qingyun had a lingering fear after blocking the sword light. Fortunately, I didn't use the ignore defense technique. Otherwise, I would have been seriously injured by the attack of these sword light. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's fear towards Zi Wang rose to a new level. This fellow was indeed a universe realm powerhouse. His strength was indeed terrifying. A quasi-universe grade powerhouse couldn't compare to him. This usage of spatial laws was simply impossible to guard against. That was close. Huang Gang's expression relaxed when he saw Mo Qingyun neutralize the sword light. Fortunately, Mo Qingyun's reaction was fast enough. Otherwise, those sword light attacks would have been enough to injure him. It wasn't Mo Qingyun's reaction that was fast. It was his protective sword intent that was strong enough. Hall Master Hua shook his head in response to Huang Gang's words. If he didn't have the protective sword intent, he wouldn't have been able to block all the sword light no matter how fast his reaction was. He would have definitely been injured by the sword light. Huang Gang and the others nodded in agreement with Palace Master Hua's analysis. That was indeed the case. The spatial law this person has grasped should be spatial deviation. This kind of power is the most bizarre and ever-changing. Seeing Zi Wang attack, Palace Master Hua knew that Zi Wang had comprehended the spatial laws. Hall Master Hua frowned at the thought of the power of spatial deviation. Although spatial deviation doesn't have any strong offensive power, it can make divine abilities unpredictable when used on them. I wonder how Qin Yun will deal with it. Hearing Hall Master Hua's concern, the expressions of Huang Gang and the others turned grave. Under everyone's nervous gazes, Mo Qingyun's face darkened slightly as he said, "The space law that this fellow comprehended is of the same type as Chu Chen's. It can cause an attack to deviate, or rather, it can cause an attack to shift. This method is very flexible against long-range attack. It seems that I can only fight him in close combat." As soon as Mo Qingyun thought about it, he had an idea. He was prepared to fight Zi Wang in close combat. Immediately, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed as he charged towards Zi Wang. "Kid, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed if you want to fight me in close combat." Seeing Mo Qingyun approaching, Zi Wang smiled mockingly as he guessed his intention. After Zi Wang finished speaking, He advanced instead of retreating and took the initiative to charge towards Emo Qingyun. 10,000 generations sacred blood. When Zi Wang charged out, he activated his bloodline and erupted with a terrifying aura. Then, a powerful bloodline pressure crushed towards Emo Qingyun. Under Zi Wang's bloodline pressure, Emo Qingyun's blood flow stagnated and showed signs of reversing. Absolute beginning creation darkness bloodline. Sensing the situation in his body, Emo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless and immediately activated his bloodline. Then, an even more ancient aura erupted from Emo Qingyun's body. Then, Zi Wang's bloodline pressure on Emo Qingyun disappeared without a trace. What a powerful bloodline! When he sensed the aura of Emo Qingyun's bloodline, Zi Wang's expression shook, and a strand of shock appeared on his face as he said, "The strength of this kid's bloodline is already close to the 1,000-generation saint bloodline. Could it be that he's from the heavenly dimension?" With that thought, Zi Wang's gaze towards Emo Qingyun changed greatly. A strong sense of greed appeared in Zi Wang's eyes. If I plant this kid's bloodline, the 1,000-generation sacred blood in my body will definitely advance to the 1,000-generation sacred blood. The more Zi Wang thought, the more excited he became. His killing intent towards Emo Qingyun grew stronger. While Zi Wang was thinking, he arrived in front of Emo Qingyun and waved his palm towards Emo Qingyun. Demonic illusion palm. Zi Wang's palm blasted out and a mysterious power blasted out from his palm. Compared to the usual saint energy, this energy was obviously much more powerful. Soon, this power turned into palm shadows and crushed towards Emo Qingyun. What a strange superpower! Looking at the incoming palm shadows, Emo Qingyun's expression shook as a sense of shock rose in his heart. The palm shadows that Zi Wang blasted out seemed ordinary, but it gave people an unfathomable feeling. Under Emo Qingyun's perception, he realized that the palm shadows were always erratic, making him unable to lock onto the palm shadows. Unable to capture the path of the palm shadows, how could he defend against these palm shadows and resolve Zi Wang's attack? Sword force rise. Under Emo Qingyun's shock, he did not dare to hesitate and immediately cast out the sword force. Sword force appeared around Emo Qingyun, protecting Emo Qingyun in the middle. "Kid, although your sword force is strong, it can't block my attack." Seeing Emo Qingyun cast out the sword force, Zi Wang's lips curled up as a cold smile appeared on his face. Soon after, Zi Wang raised his arm and waved it in front of Emo Qingyun, using the power of the spatial deviation law. Following that, Emo Qingyun discovered that the energy swords around him were moving in a strange manner. It did not take long for a vacuum to appear in the sword energy that was protecting him. When this vacuum area appeared, the palm shadows blasted out by Zi Wang blasted towards his chest. Not good. Seeing such a situation, Emo Qingyun's expression was shocked, producing a strong sense of shock. Zi Wang's methods of attack were truly too bizarre and varied, causing him to feel overwhelmed. Dark Nether Palm. Heavenly Demon Palm. God Vanquishing Palm. Facing the incoming palm shadows, Emo Qingyun did not dare to be careless as he frantically waved both of his palms. As Emo Qingyun waved his palms, one by one, icy cold palm shadows blasted out from his palms. Bang bang bang, one by one, the palm shadows collided with each other, producing a series of loud bangs and forming a storm of energy. It was just that Emo Qingyun's palm force was unable to defeat Zi Wang in the end. The palm shadows that he blasted out collapsed very quickly. Following that, Emo Qingyun was struck by the palm shadows one after another, his body being blasted flying out. Seeing such a scene, the expressions of Huang Gang and the rest were greatly alarmed. Chapter 2655. Qin Yun is injured. Should we go and rescue him? Look at Qin Yun's eyes. They are filled with fighting spirit. Could it be that Qin Yun still has a trump card? Does he have a way to deal with that person? I'm not sure about that. Let's see. Seeing Emo Qingyun's situation, Hall Master Hua and the others had tense expressions as they clenched their fists tightly. Although they held back and did not make a move, their emotions were still very nervous. Compared to the reaction of Hall Master Hua and the others, Wang Kai and the others laughed complacently when they saw this scene. "Kid, continue being arrogant. Weren't you very arrogant just now?" Looking at the pale Emo Qingyun with a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, Wang Kai laughed complacently. Hearing Wang Kai's words, the Divine Wood royal family members beside him laughed loudly. "In my opinion, that kid must have been scared silly. He was so scared that he even forgot to resist. With Lord Zi Wang personally taking action, even if that kid has extraordinary ability, he can only die unwillingly. It's such a pity to kill him like this. He should be ruthlessly tortured." Everyone from the Divine Wood royal family was indignant. Seeing the Divine Wood royal family's reaction, Emo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said, "I'm just a little injured. Look at how agitated all of you are. Do you think that such a small injury will not affect me?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Wang Kai and the others were speechless. They did not know how to refute. With Emo Qingyun's bloodline power, this kind of injury healed very quickly. It really did not affect him much. Besides, even if I'm not his match, I'll just admit defeat. Looking at the speechless Wang Kai and the others, Emo Qingyun did not stop talking. He continued unhurriedly, "Anyway, I've killed 2 people. Even if I admit defeat now, I won't lose anything in this arena battle." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words and looking at Emo Qingyun's expression, Wang Kai and the others were so angry that they vomited blood. "You can't be so shameless. How can you just leave after winning?" Compared to Wang Kai and the others who were depressed, Huang Gang and the others were dumbfounded. It had to be said that Emo Qingyun's shameless behavior had shocked them. So that's what this brat is planning. No wonder he's so fearless. Is this what it feels like to run away after acting tough? This must be a very exciting feeling. Wang Kai and the others must be in a good mood right now. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Huang Gang and the rest burst into laughter. Emo Qingyun was right. Even if he wasn't a match for Zi Wang, he could just admit defeat. Emo Qingyun admitted defeat and hid in the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. Even if Zi Wang's strength was formidable, could he still chase after him? If that was the case, the 2 sides would directly start the battle, and it would have nothing to do with the rules of the arena battle. Humph. What a treacherous, cunning, sharp-tongued brat. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zi Wang's face fell. He berated Emo Qingyun and said, "Do you think that you still have the chance to escape in front of this old man? Old man, don't think too highly of yourself. You can't stop me if I want to escape." Towards Zi Wang's furious words, Emo Qingyun did not care in the slightest. He replied indifferently and continued, "The spatial offset law that you comprehended, adding on to your divine ability, although it increased the variability of your attack, the power didn't increase by much." This analysis of Emo Qingyun, Zi Wang did not carry out a refutation. The situation was indeed like this. It was just that the physique of an ordinary person was not as freakish as Emo Qingyun, forcefully taking his palm without being seriously injured. "Humph. Can't kill you one time, I'll just have to come a few more times." Zi Wang was silent for a moment. Then, with a dark face, he said an angry sentence. Zi Wang's figure moved, charging towards Emo Qingyun. He did not want to talk nonsense with Emo Qingyun anymore. "Just nice. I also wanted to tell you that I can use spatial law too." Looking at Zi Wang charging towards him, Emo Qingyun revealed a faint smile at the corners of his mouth, releasing an intense battle intent. As Emo Qingyun spoke, he deployed the spatial gate, adding it onto his body. Following the spatial gate entering his body, Emo Qingyun's perception of spatial power immediately reached a new level. The spatial law added onto the spatial gate seems to be spatial compression. It seems different from the last time. Discovering the spatial gate's spatial law, Emo Qingyun's brows furrowed. He had a very big discovery. He guessed. It seems that the spatial law obtained each time I activate the spatial gate is different. Spatial compression. Obtaining the spatial gate's power augmentation, Emo Qingyun immediately urged spatial law, compressing the space around Zi Wang. Under Emo Qingyun's action, Zi Wang's body clearly turned sluggish, as if he suffered an intense collision. Poo work. Following that, Zi Wang vomited a mouthful of blood, his complexion becoming pale as paper. Looking at his appearance, he seemed to have suffered tremendous injuries in an intense collision. Compared to the internal injuries, what Zi Wang was more shocked about now was that Emo Qingyun used spatial law. Spatial compression. Zi Wang's pair of eyes opened wide, looking at Emo Qingyun in disbelief as he said in shock, How is this possible? He's just initial stage starfield cultivation. How can he utilize spatial law? This discovery truly frightened him badly. He had a feeling of being badly shaken. The power of spatial compression was much stronger than spatial deviation. Not only could spatial compression compress space, but it could also carry out crushing and killing the enemy. It could even shorten the attack distance during the attack, making the time needed to attack difficult to calculate. That's spatial law? Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Wang Kai and the rest who mocked Emo Qingyun earlier were all frightened until they were petrified at this moment. Emo Qingyun had comprehended the laws of space. This was something he had never dreamed of. As spatial compression, this is Qingyun's trump card? Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Hall Master Hua's expression shook, his old face unbelievably agitated. He guessed that Emo Qingyun might have a trump card, but he did not expect that it was actually this trump card. One had to admit that this trump card of Emo Qingyun's was seriously too powerful, too overbearing. This kid is merely initial stage starfield cultivation and actually comprehended spatial law. Really too freakish. In this case, as long as his cultivation is sufficient, wouldn't he directly break through to the universe realm? No wonder he has a fearless appearance. It turns out that he has such a reliance. Why didn't you say earlier that you had such a trump card? Made me worry for a long time. Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Huang Gang and the rest laughed loudly, the worry in their hearts disappearing. Immediately, they revealed excited expressions, looking forward to Emo Qingyun's following performance. Under everyone's gazes, Emo Qingyun had an indifferent expression as he looked at Zi Wang ahead and said, Now, let me ask you, if I'm in front of you, do I have a chance to escape? Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Zi Wang's old face twitched as if he was ruthlessly slapped by someone. Chapter 2656. What I want to do is not just escape. Without waiting for Zi Wang to reply, Emo Qingyun changed the topic, his expression becoming cold as he said, What I want to do now is to cut him down with my sword as the starting point for me to annihilate the Dark Devil clan. As Emo Qingyun's words fell, he waved his right hand, and the 9-bull divine sword flashed with cold light. Even if you comprehend the law of space, this old man is not made of clay. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zi Wang snorted coldly, showing strong displeasure. However, without waiting for him to finish speaking, Emo Qingyun rushed towards him, arriving in front of him in the blink of an eye. Spatial deviation. Facing Emo Qingyun's attack, Zi Wang did not dare to fight in close combat, and immediately used the law of space to dodge. The space around Zi Wang shook, and his figure escaped, pulling apart the distance between him and Emo Qingyun. Can you escape? Seeing Zi Wang dodge to the side, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he slashed the 9-bull divine sword. Under the sweep of the 9-bull divine sword, a threatening sword light swept towards Zi Wang. Spatial compression. After slashing out the sword light, Emo Qingyun used the law of space with a thought. As the space was compressed, the distance between the sword light and Zi Wang was instantly shortened. Bang! Without waiting for Zi Wang to react, the sword light was in front of him, slashing towards his head. Facing the rapidly approaching sword light, Zi Wang's expression trembled, and he hurriedly used the law of space to dodge. However, even if Zi Wang used the spatial deviation, the space he could dodge was still limited. Not good, the space was compressed by that kid. My spatial deviation is suppressed. Seeing the distance he dodged, Zi Wang was secretly shocked, and his expression was filled with panic. After all, Zi Wang was not an ordinary person. Although he was panicking in his heart, he immediately took action to block the sword light. Under Zi Wang's attack, an ancient power erupted from his body. When this power erupted, it turned into a huge shadow, enveloping him inside. Supreme Demonic Buddha Barrier. The huge ancient Buddha shadow formed, and it began to recite scriptures. Golden characters flew out of its mouth. These words flew out and turned into a huge swastika shield, blocking the attack of the sword light. Unfortunately, although the swastika shield was powerful, it was unable to withstand the sword ray. The sword light flashed and pierced through the barrier of the swastika shield. After that, the sword light descended onto Zi Wang's body and severed one of his arms. Zi Wang immediately cried out miserably when an arm was chopped off, and his expression became even more terrified as he said, "This? How could this be possible? How could his sword light ignore my defense?" After a brief moment of shock, Zi Wang felt relieved in his heart. Just now, when Emo Qingyun was fighting with Wang Chuani and the others, he had also displayed this technique. As such, it was not strange for Emo Qingyun to use such a method when fighting against him. Although he understood the reason, Zi Wang's heart was still filled with unreconciliation. He did not expect that in his confrontation with Emo Qingyun, he would actually end up with such an outcome. At this moment, he truly understood. On the desolate continent, when Zi Qingrong exchanged blows with Emo Qingyun, why did he end up in such a wretched state? This brat is too strange. If I don't know his situation, I'll be at a disadvantage if I fight him. After a bout of fighting with Emo Qingyun and discovering that he was suppressed all along, Zi Wang gave rise to cowardice. He felt that if he carried on fighting, he might fail miserably at an easy task. When this thought arose, Zi Wang no longer hesitated and immediately fled towards the Divine Wood Imperial family's camp. Seeing Zi Wang's actions, then looking at his severed arm, Wang Kai and the rest were all dumbfounded. They did not dare to believe that Zi Wang personally took action and was actually defeated too. More importantly, not only was Zi Wang defeated, he even let Emo Qingyun sever an arm. No, this definitely can't be real. How can he be so powerful? Seeing the miserable appearance of Zi Wang, Wang Kai's expression was somewhat deranged, unable to accept this result. Even Zi Wang was not a match, they were even less of a match. This way, how to challenge Emo Qingyun? How to encircle and annihilate the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect? Right now, it was already not a matter of encircling and not encircling and annihilating, but how to deal with Emo Qingyun's revenge. Thinking of this, Wang Kai immediately felt his head swell. How did he provoke such a monster? Compared to the mood in Wang Kai's heart, the mood of Hall Master Hua and the rest was undoubtedly excellent to the extreme. This boy's strength is truly unfathomable. I didn't expect that even that black-robed old man had an arm chopped off by him too. Looking at it this way without comprehending two kinds of spatial laws, they're probably not his match. I didn't expect that unknowingly, his strength already surpassed us. Seeing the strength that Emo Qingyun displayed, Hall Master Hua and the rest also produced vicissitudes of emotion amidst their joy. Emo Qingyun's growth was too fast, resulting in them not being able to react in time. Guang Ping sighed emotionally in his heart. He revealed an expression of anticipation and said, "The confrontation with the Divine Wood Imperial family this time, if we can topple them, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect might be able to replace their position. When Guang Ping thought of this point, his mood became agitated. Expanding the Heavenly Bull Divine sect in his hands, how prideful of a thing was this! As for borrowing Mo Qingyun's strength, it was hard for him to mind. It was fine as long as he was the sect master. Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, chasing after Zi Wang. Spatial compression. Mo Qingyun's mind stirred. The distance between him and Zi Wang was immediately pulled infinitely close. Following that, Mo Qingyun took a step out, and he arrived in front of Zi Wang. Seeing that his path was blocked, Zi Wang's expression clearly trembled, his complexion becoming pale. He already knew that in front of Mo Qingyun, it was useless to run away. You can't escape. Continue fighting with me. Blocking Zi Wang's path, Mo Qingyun had a cold expression on his face, brandishing his sword and slashing down towards him. Mo Qingyun's sword slashed out. His figure flashed, arriving in front of Zi Wang. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, Zi Wang's expression trembled. His entire heart chilled a little more as he said, "This boy's application of spatial law is even more proficient than before. Could it be that when he exchanged blows with me earlier, it was just to familiarize himself with spatial law?" When Zi Wang thought of this point, his mood became even more despairing. If it was like he guessed, this was absolutely a nightmare to him. Merely at the fumbling stage, his strength was already so powerful. When Mo Qingyun was thoroughly proficient in spatial law, how terrifying would his strength be? Just as Zi Wang was alarmed in his heart, the sword light that Mo Qingyun slashed out arrived in front of him. Seeing the sword light attacking, Zi Wang's expression twitched, immediately blocking the sword light's attack. Chapter 2657. 10,000 Spirits Holy Demon Slash. Zi Wang flipped his right palm, and Saint Power madly gathered in his palm, blooming with a dazzling black light. Then, Zi Wang quickly waved his right palm, and madly blasted towards Mo Qingyun. At this moment, Zi Wang's palm attack was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, he blasted out 10,000 palms. After continuously blasting out 10,000 palms, even with Zi Wang's cultivation, he felt a little exhausted. From the looks of it, he wasn't too familiar with this ability. Tens of thousands of palm shadows with imposing auras pressed down on Mo Qingyun like dark clouds. Space compression. Facing 10,000 palm shadows, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all, and immediately urged the law of space. Under the power of the law of space, the space where the 10,000 palm shadows were was immediately compressed at an extremely fast speed. After compressing the space where the palm shadows were, Mo Qingyun's body leaned to the side, and easily avoided the palm shadows' attack. This kid's use of the law of space has become more flexible and versatile. Seeing such a scene, Zi Wang's expression twitched, and his entire heart was completely cold. Mo Qingyun had mastered the law of space compression to such an extent that his attack was useless. It seems that the law of space that I have comprehended seems to be more useful. After avoiding Zi Wang's superpower, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly, and began to counterattack. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and quickly came to Zi Wang's side, and stabbed him with his sword. The speed of this sword was extremely fast, and with the support of the law of space, and the close distance between them, Zi Wang could not dodge in time. Poochie! A cold light flashed on the nine-bull divine sword, and it stabbed into Zi Wang's throat, piercing through his neck. Seeing his neck being pierced, Zi Wang's eyes widened, and he looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief and said, You actually, Kacha? Without waiting for Zi Wang to finish, Mo Qingyun's arm shook, and directly chopped off his head. When Zi Wang's head was chopped off, he did not hesitate, and his primordial spirit immediately abandoned his body to escape. Space deviation. When Mo Qingyun's primordial spirit was fleeing for his life, He also urged the spatial laws to allow himself to get away from Mo Qingyun even faster. Before long, Zi Wang's origin divinity fled far away, hiding among Wang Kai and the rest. What a pity! Zi Wang ran to Wang Kai and the others. Mo Qingyun shook his head regretfully. He knew that wanting to kill Zi Wang after this was probably not too possible. Although I can't kill Zi Wang, crippling his physical body is a pretty good harvest. Mo Qingyun changed his mind and his mood became much better. He turned around and flew towards Huang Gang and the others. In this combat arena battle, he'd killed 2 people in one go and crippled Zi Wang's body. It could be said that his accomplishments were remarkable. It's a pity that I couldn't kill Zi Wang. After arriving before Huang Gang and the others, Mo Qingyun sighed and said, however, now that Zi Wang doesn't have a physical body, it's equivalent to him losing his combat strength. He's no longer a threat to us. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Hall Master Hua and the rest were stunned. All of them revealed bitter smiles. Mo Qingyun had such accomplishments and he was actually unsatisfied. This was too demoralizing. No need to mind. You've already done very well. That's right. You look at the Divine Wood Imperial family's fellows. They're all like frosted eggplants. Losing Zi Wang 3 people, the combat strength that they possess now isn't much stronger than us. Looking at both sides' strength situation, Huang Gang and the rest laughed heartily. Their confidence became even more abundant. In their view, even if they fought head-on now, they did not need to be afraid. The current situation can be considered barely stabilized. But we can't have the slightest bit of carelessness. Regarding Huang Gang and the rest's thoughts, Mo Qingyun nodded his head in agreement. He continued, if my guess is right, the Lone Soul sect should be related to the Outer Realm's Dark Devil race. This is a colossal force. If they want to deal with the Skybull Mountain sect, it won't be a simple matter. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Hall Master Hua and the rest immediately became heavy. They couldn't be clearer about the strength of the Dark Devil race. At the peak of the Dark Devil race, even the number of great Emperor Realm experts had reached more than 10. If it wasn't for the alliance of the major clans, no single clan would be a match for the Dark Devil race. What made people even more worried was that the Dark Devil race seemed to be inextricably linked to a certain strong clan in the Heaven Realm. Everyone just needs to be careful and vigilant about the revenge of the Dark Devil race. Don't be too pressured. Looking at the heavy expressions of Huang Gang and the rest, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and comforted them. He said, with the hatred of the various clans towards the Dark Devil race, they won't dare to brazenly take action. To them, to be hunted down by various clans in order to exterminate the Skybull Mountain sect is a loss. After listening to Mo Qingyun's analysis, the expressions of Huang Gang and the rest immediately turned for the better. In the battle just now I've suffered some injuries. I'll go and cultivate to heal my injuries. After explaining to Huang Gang and the rest, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and immediately walked to an open space. The current situation was grim. He had to maintain his peak condition at all times to deal with all kinds of unforeseen events. Seeing Mo Qingyun going to cultivate and heal his injuries, Huang Gang and the rest exchanged glances and guarded by Mo Qingyun's side. As for the others, they were nervous and vigilant against the attack of the Divine Wood royal family. What surprised everyone was that not long after Zi Wang was defeated, the Divine Wood royal family began to retreat. From the looks of it, they seemed to have given up on attacking the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Not long after, the Divine Wood royal family's troops all retreated from the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. This crisis is finally over. Seeing the Divine Wood royal family leave, Guang Ping took a deep breath and his hanging heart was completely relieved. He was really worried that Wang Kai and the rest would be desperate and launch an attack without caring about anything else. If that was the case, even if they defeated the Divine Wood royal family, they would suffer heavy losses. Although the Divine Wood royal family had retreated, Huang Gang and the rest were not in a hurry to leave. They continued to guard by Mo Qingyun's side. They guarded for several days. After several days of cultivation, Mo Qingyun's injuries finally recovered. The Divine Wood royal family retreated? When Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation, he discovered that the Divine Wood royal family had all retreated from the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. This result surprised him, but he was happy to see it. Seeing Mo Qingyun withdraw from his cultivation, Huang Gang revealed a concerned expression and asked, "Qingyun, what are your plans next? Are you going to launch a counterattack against the Divine Wood royal family?" "No." Mo Qingyun waved his hand in response to Huang Gang's question and said, "Don't counterattack for now. It won't be too late to deal with them after I collect the galactic meteorite flame and the star nest fire." Chapter 2658. For the next period of time, Mo Qingyun stayed in Jinlo, learning arrays from Huang Gang. Under Huang Gang's guidance, Mo Qingyun's attainments in array formations could be said to have improved rapidly. In just over a month, Mo Qingyun's array attainments had reached the level of a third-grade Saint Array Master. This kind of speed of improvement gave Huang Gang quite a fright. "Kid, this old man has lived for so many years, but I have never seen such a speed of comprehension." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had advanced to a third-grade Saint Array Master, Huang Gang couldn't help but sigh. Mo Qingyun didn't explain anything about Huang Gang's sigh, but he knew the real reason. If he hadn't taken Renjun as a star general, his array comprehension speed wouldn't have reached this level. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Huang Gang were talking, Tai Balong arrived with a happy face. "Qingyun, I just received good news. There's news about the galaxy meteorite flame." Arriving at the top floor of Jinlo, Tai Balong excitedly reported the news to Mo Qingyun. "Really?" Hearing Tai Balong's words, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy. He said excitedly, "Quickly tell me the specific situation of the galaxy meteorite flame." "Okay." Tai Balong nodded and said, "Just now, the sect received news that a large flame cloud has appeared in a barren land in Huafan Galaxy. It seems that the galaxy meteorite flame is about to fall. Do you have a map of the specific location?" After receiving news about the galaxy meteorite flame, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and decided to go there immediately. Tai Balong seemed to have expected that Mo Qingyun would be in a hurry to go there. He immediately took out a map and said, "This is the map of the Huafan Galaxy. The place where the Star River meteorite flame fell is located here." Tai Balong took out the map and pointed at it, explaining it to Mo Qingyun. "The Flame and Rock Realm Abyss." Looking at the location of Tai Balong's finger, Mo Qingyun memorized it and carefully put away the map. This map was very important to him, so he couldn't lose it carelessly. "If that's the case, I'll be on my way." After knowing the location of the celestial river Fallen Flame, Mo Qingyun left a few words to Tai Balong before he immediately set off. Before long, Mo Qingyun walked out of Jinlo and took out a black flying boat to hasten his journey. This black flying boat was something that Mo Qingyun had obtained from the treasury of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect not long ago. He defeated the Divine Wood royal family, so Guang Ping rewarded him with access to the Heavenly Bull Divine sect's treasury to choose a few items. This Black Demon flying ship was a quasi-universal level flying ship. Its speed was much faster than the Blood Cloud flying ship. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had left, Tai Balong did not linger and went to report to Guang Ping and the others. A short while later, Mo Qingyun left the Divine Wood continent and rushed towards the Huafan Galaxy. The Huafan Galaxy was not far from the Wood Origin Galaxy, separated by the Water Immortal Galaxy. After leaving the Divine Wood continent, Mo Qingyun summoned Luo Jian and asked him to control the flying boat in his stead. "Recently, my cultivation has improved greatly, and my attainments in array formations have also increased. I can explore the Grand Mist Sea again. After handing over the Black Demon flying ship to the Luo family, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment before entering the Fortune mainland. After arriving at the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop. In a flash, his figure appeared at the edge of the Grand Mist Sea. I hope I can gain something this time. Mo Qingyun sighed inwardly as he gazed at the boundless primordial mist sea, and then he jumped into it. After escaping into the Grand Mist Sea, a terrifying oppressive force appeared on Mo Qingyun's body. It seems like if my physical strength doesn't improve, there won't be any changes under the pressure of the Grand Mist Sea. Feeling the oppressive force on his body, Mo Qingyun understood his situation and immediately circulated his Saint Force to resist. As Mo Qingyun circulated his Saint Force, the pressure of the Grand Mist Sea on him immediately weakened. After relieving the pressure on his body, Mo Qingyun swam towards the center of the Grand Mist Sea in search of Grand Mist spirits. When Mo Qingyun swam 500 to 600 meters, he saw some Grand Mist spirits, but he did not stop. He wanted to test the limits of his endurance. In this way, Mo Qingyun swam until he reached 1,200 meters before he stopped. This was his limit. 1,200 meters, an increase of 200 meters from the last time. Seeing his improvement this time, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He was very satisfied with this improvement. After understanding his own limits, Mo Qingyun began to retreat, returning to his original position of 1,000 meters. In this position, his strength and mobility were not affected much. If he went any deeper, the strength he could display would be reduced. If that's the case, let's set up the formation here. Standing at 1,000 meters, Mo Qingyun did not stop and immediately began to set up the formation. Following that, Mo Qingyun took out the formation materials one by one. After taking out the formation materials, Mo Qingyun skillfully inscribed the saint inscriptions on them. Not long after, all kinds of strange saint inscriptions were inscribed on the formation materials. After inscribing the saint inscriptions, Mo Qingyun did not stop and threw out the formation materials one by one. When the formation materials were thrown out, they bloomed with dazzling light and produced a mysterious power. A few days later, under Mo Qingyun's tireless efforts, several level 3 saint formations were completed and merged together perfectly. Mo Qingyun smiled satisfactorily as he looked at the array formations before him. If my array formation attainments reach the level of a level 4 sacred array master, I wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. Because Mo Qingyun's array formation attainments were insufficient, he was unable to set up a level 4 sacred array. He could only make up for it by setting up level 3 sacred arrays. When several level 3 sacred arrays were combined, the power they could unleash was close to some ordinary level 4 sacred arrays. However, if he kept doing this, it would consume a lot of energy as well as a lot of materials to set up the array. In the long run, this was not a desirable method. More importantly, even if the combined array formation was comparable to a level 4 sacred array, it could only trap a celestial domain-grade primordial chaos spirit. If it was a universe-grade primordial chaos spirit, there would be nothing he could do. Therefore, continuously improving his attainments in array formations was the best choice. In that case, what I have to do next is wait for the primordial chaos spirit to take the bait. Upon seeing that the formation array had been set up, Mo Qingyun sat down within the array formation and waited for the primordial chaos spirit to enter the array formation. This method was a little like waiting for a rabbit to appear by a tree stump. However, he had no other choice. Given his current cultivation base, he would not be able to catch up to the primordial chaos spirit in the sea of primordial mist. While waiting for the primordial chaos spirit to enter the array formation, Mo Qingyun did not waste any time. Instead, he silently comprehended the array formation. Chapter 2659. Half a day later. A tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit entered Mo Qingyun's perception and slowly approached the array formation. Sensing the spirit tortoise's approach, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy and he withdrew from the array formation. It's here. Mo Qingyun focused his attention and stared at the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit until it entered the array formation. Seeing the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit enter the array formation, Mo Qingyun's gaze sharpened and he immediately activated the array formation. Rise. The array formation was activated by Mo Qingyun and it immediately bloomed with dazzling light and emitted a powerful fluctuation of array force. Realizing that the array formation was activated, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit was alarmed and it frantically swam around in a panic. Then, Mo Qingyun saw the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit turn into an afterimage and crash into the array formation. Bang! Under the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's crash, a deafening sound came from the array formation. The tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit was enraged by the backlash of the array formation and it became even more frenzied as it rammed into the array formation. Soon, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit was pushed back again, causing it to become even faster and more violent. Where do you think you're going? Seeing the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold and he immediately launched an attack on it. As Mo Qingyun attacked, a shocking spatial energy emitted from his body. Then, a looming door of light appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and slowly seeped into his body. Space compression. Mo Qingyun blasted out a palm and the space inside the array formation was rapidly compressed. As the space was compressed, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's movement space was greatly restricted. Before long, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's movement space was compressed to a few square meters. A faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face when he witnessed this scene. He said, "Let's see where you can flee to now." After controlling the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's movement space, Mo Qingyun launched an attack on it. Ignore defense. Azure Bull Soaring Stump. Golden Bull Sky Shattering Slash. Mo Qingyun held the 9-Bull Divine Sword in his hand and slashed out several sword rays in succession. Facing the bombardment of sword rays, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit panicked and was immediately slashed by the sword rays. Puff puff puff, after being bombarded by the sword rays, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's body was immediately cut into pieces. Following that, the aura of life it emitted began to weaken rapidly. Success! After killing the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit, Mo Qingyun revealed a radiant smile and swam over. Mo Qingyun came to the side of the turtle-shaped primordial spirit. With a wave of his hand, he pulled it to his side. What pure primordial energy! Sensing the aura of the turtle-shaped grand mist spirit, Mo Qingyun revealed an excited expression and immediately began refining it. Streams of pure grand mist energy were extracted from the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit's body under the devouring power of the black heaven devouring gate. Subsequently, these streams of grand mist energy were channeled into Mo Qingyun's body. Refine. Feeling the grand mist energy entering his body, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately began refining it. As Mo Qingyun refined the grand mist spirit, the aura he emitted began to strengthen bit by bit. Not only that, but the purity of Mo Qingyun's saint energy was also being refined bit by bit. Sensing this situation, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and said excitedly, "The grand mist spirit in the body of the grand mist spirit is indeed very powerful. If I continue to refine it, the sun energy in my body will soon undergo a qualitative change." With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun worked even harder to refine the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit. Following Mo Qingyun's refinement, the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit became smaller and smaller. 2 days passed very quickly. After 2 days of refinement, this intermediate star sector level tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit was completely refined by Mo Qingyun. After refining the tortoise-shaped grand mist spirit, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised and said, "Just a intermediate star sector level Grand Mist Spirit has increased the grade of my sun energy by nearly 5%. If I refine a late star sector level Grand Mist Spirit, won't my sun energy grade increase by 10%? With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun developed a strong sense of anticipation about refining the Grand Mist Spirit. Immediately, Mo Qingyun continued to wait in the formation for the other Grand Mist Spirits to arrive. "Master, we have arrived at the fiery and rocky realm abyss." While Mo Qingyun was waiting, Luo Jian's voice sounded and interrupted his hunt. Hearing Luo Jian's words, Mo Qingyun stood up and swam towards the shore of the primordial fog sea. Since he had arrived at the fiery and rocky realm abyss, he had to leave. He was in no hurry to hunt the Grand Mist Spirits, but collecting the Star River meteoric flames could not be delayed. If he missed this opportunity, who knew when the next opportunity would come? The changes were too big. Mo Qingyun was in a hurry to improve the Nine Bulls' divine sword. He could not wait. Before long, Mo Qingyun swam out of the primordial fog sea and left the Fortune mainland. Inside the Black Devil flying ship. "Master, the fiery abyss in front is the fiery and rocky realm abyss." Seeing Mo Qingyun coming to his side, Luo Jian pointed ahead, reporting the location to Mo Qingyun. Following the direction Luo Jian was pointing, Mo Qingyun saw a huge ravine with red lava flowing inside. Above the ravine, there were clusters of red clouds that dyed the surrounding space blood red. From the looks of it, it won't be long before the meteor rain falls. Mo Qingyun observed the scarlet cloud for a moment before he silently deduced in his heart. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He walked out of the Black Devil flying ship and said to Luo Jian, "Put away the Black Devil flying ship, we'll fly over." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took the lead and flew out, approaching the fiery and rocky realm abyss. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Luo Jian responded, "Put away the Black Devil flying ship," and followed. With Mo Qingyun and Luo Jian flying, it did not take long for them to reach the fiery and rocky realm abyss. At this moment, there were many tents near the fiery and rocky realm abyss, and there were guards around the tent. These guards were not weak, they were all in the galaxy grade. Even the guards were in the galaxy grade. One could imagine the status of the people in the tent. Retracting his gaze from the tents, Mo Qingyun also saw some people sitting cross-legged in the void. These people were very strong, they were all at the same level as Hall Master Hua, and they had all comprehended the space laws. Chapter 2660. Just as Mo Qingyun was sighing inwardly, a large group of people arrived. These people were carrying a huge fiery lotus palanquin and slowly approaching the flame and rock realm abyss. Inside the palanquin was a young lady with a seductive appearance. She was scanning her surroundings with a bewitching gaze. Mo Qingyun's head buzzed when he sensed the young lady's gaze. He clearly felt his consciousness waver. What a powerful, bewitching power! Mo Qingyun was startled when he realized that his consciousness had become dizzy. He couldn't help but take a few more glances at the young lady. Just a glance was enough to make him fall into a trance. This young lady wasn't simple at all. After sizing up the young lady, Mo Qingyun thought to himself, she might be a tough opponent in the fight for the galaxy meteorite flame. Compared to Mo Qingyun's surprise, the young lady also looked surprised when she saw Mo Qingyun's performance. She said, "An initial stage star sector level kid actually recovered so quickly under the influence of my bewitching power. He's quite capable." The young lady muttered to herself. Then, she retracted her gaze and looked at the scarlet cloud. Presumably, in her opinion, Mo Qingyun was just a little special and wasn't worthy of her attention. After all, Mo Qingyun's cultivation was too low. He was only at the initial stage star sector level. An initial stage star sector level cultivator wasn't worth mentioning in front of many powerhouses who had comprehended space laws. If the young lady had known about Emo Qingyun's true strength, she wouldn't have reacted this way. When the young lady arrived at the Flame and Rock Realm Abyss, she immediately attracted the attention of many people. Why is this seductress here? It is said that the Sacred Fire Lotus cult's leader has been poisoned by a strange poison. He needs the Galaxy Meteorite Flame to treat his injuries. This seductress is extremely powerful. She has also bewitched people to work for her. It will be difficult to snatch the Galaxy Meteorite Flame now. I don't want to snatch too much. I just want to pick up 1 or 2 drops. Looking at the young girl in the Fire Lotus palanquin, the crowd whispered to each other. Emo Qingyun frowned when he heard everyone talking about the young lady. He thought to himself, the Sacred Fire Lotus cult is the #1 cult in the Brahman Fire Galaxy. It is a powerful sect that is on par with the Raging Fire Buddha Gate. It is a quasi-3-star force with a universe realm expert overseeing it. Their strength is slightly stronger than the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Before Emo Qingyun set off, Tai Balong had already told him about the Sacred Fire Lotus cult. Not only did Tai Balong talk about the situation of the Sacred Fire Lotus cult, but he also talked about the situation of the other powerful forces. He was worried that after Emo Qingyun came to Huafan Galaxy, he would cause unnecessary trouble because he wasn't familiar with the place. It was not that he was worried about the danger. Instead, he was worried that if he got into trouble, it would make it more troublesome to fight for the Galaxy Fallen Flame. So she has such a background. After knowing the girl's background, Emo Qingyun felt relieved. With this woman's background, it wasn't surprising that she had such amazing methods of seduction. After knowing the girl's identity, Emo Qingyun retracted his gaze and found a place to settle down. His thoughts were simple. No matter what the girl's identity was, if she dared to stop him from fighting for the Galaxy Fallen Flame, he would kill her without hesitation. Emo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and took out the array formation scroll. He started to comprehend the array formation casually. While Emo Qingyun was comprehending the array formation, many people came and each of them found a place to settle down. Occasionally, 1 or 2 people with backgrounds would come and cause some people to feel nervous and whisper at the side. Regarding these people's conversation, Emo Qingyun took it all in and analyzed it for them. However, although these people had some background, they couldn't be compared to the young lady from the Sacred Fire Lotus cult. After an unknown period of time, a group of people riding on blue tortoises slowly came over, attracting everyone's attention. When the young lady from the Sacred Fire Lotus cult saw this group of people, her expression immediately turned cold. Looking at the young lady's behavior, she seemed to be extremely hostile to this group of people. People from the Jade Sea Dragon Palace. Why are they here too? That person is the Jade Sea Dragon Palace's 5th prince, Wu Tu. I didn't expect him to come. This guy is really bold. He actually dares to come to our Huafan Galaxy so openly. It is said that this Wu Tu has comprehended 2 types of space law. I wonder if it is true. This news is absolutely true. Although his comprehension isn't too deep, he has indeed comprehended 2 types of space law. So he has comprehended 2 types of space law. No wonder he dares to appear so openly. Looking at the young man with the golden crown, everyone had a look of fear and whispered at the side. From their behavior, they were obviously more afraid of Wu Tu than the young lady from the Fire Lotus cult. He has comprehended 2 types of space law. This is a strong opponent. Listening to the crowd's conversation, Emo Qingyun frowned and raised his guard against Wu Tu. A person who had comprehended 2 types of space law, even if he had only comprehended a little, was very powerful. Under everyone's gaze, Wu Tu came to the Flame and Rock Realm Abyss. He glanced at the crowd and said, "Friends from the Huafan Galaxy, I have no ill intentions. You don't have to be so nervous." Hearing Wu Tuo's words, the nervousness on everyone's faces immediately intensified. Wu Tuo didn't care about everyone's reaction. He turned his head to look at the young lady from the Fire Lotus cult and said, "Miss Yaoyue of the Sacred Fire Lotus cult, I am Wu Tuo of the Jade Sea Dragon Palace. Greetings." Scram! In response to Wu Tuo's bow, the Fire Lotus girl's tone was cold as she shouted sternly at him. Looking at Yao Yu's appearance, she seemed to hate Wu Tuo a lot. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's interest was piqued. He looked at the two of them curiously. These two people were strong opponents for him to compete for the Galaxy Fallen Flame. He needed to observe them carefully. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, it would be best if they fought among themselves. What's going on? Why does Miss Yaoyue hate Wu Tuo so much? You don't know. Yaoyue's senior sister, Miss Sandalwood, was kidnapped by the first prince of the Jade Sea Dragon Palace. It's been more than 100 years. Could it be that Miss Sandalwood hasn't been released? I don't know the details. In any case, the feud between the two forces has been formed since then. Seeing Yaoyue and Wu Tuo's performance, some people whispered with anticipation in their eyes. The battle between the heavens prides of the two forces must be very exciting. More importantly, if the two forces fought, others could take advantage of the situation. Wu Tuo didn't care about Yaoyue's anger. "Miss Yaoyue, don't worry. I won't be like my brother. I will only use sincerity to move you. I won't force you." In addition, Miss Sandalwood is very happy in the Jade Sea Dragon Palace. She will give birth soon. Miss Yaoyue, do you want to come and take a look? Chapter 2661. Shameless Pervert. Hearing Wu Tuo's words, Yu Yao's face turned cold, and a chill emanated from her body. Immediately after, she slammed her palm toward Wu Tuo, blasting out a burst of violent flame saint power. The saint power burst out and turned into a fire phoenix, flying toward Wu Tuo. "Miss Yu Yao, I truly admire you. Why do you keep me at arm's length?" Wu Tuo was not angered by Yu Yao's attack. He still had a pleasant smile on his face. However, as Wu Tuo spoke, he hurriedly retreated. It seemed that he did not dare to ignore Yu Yao's attack. Ice Dragon Phoenix controlling palm. As Wu Tuo retreated, he also slapped out with a blast of cold saint power. The saint power blasted out and turned into a blue ice dragon, entangling the fire phoenix palm shadow. Then, everyone saw the fire phoenix palm shadow was frozen by the ice dragon palm shadow. After neutralizing Yu Yao's attack, Wu Tuo did not attack again. He looked at Yu Yao with a faint smile and said, "Miss Yu Yao, we both have water and fire bloodlines, and we both cultivate water and fire techniques. We are a match made in heaven." Disgusting. Hearing Wu Tuo's words, Yu Yao's face turned cold, and she glared at him with disgust. Immediately, Yu Yao turned her head and ignored Wu Tuo. Seeing that Yu Yao ignored him, Wu Tuo did not continue to harass her, even though he was thick-skinned. He knew very well that if he continued to harass her, he would really push Yu Yao into a corner. He came to the abyss of flame and rock mainly for the Galaxia Fallen Flame. He could not delay the important matters because of Yu Yao. He had just teased Yu Yao out of interest, not because he wanted to pursue her. Withdrawing his gaze from Yu Yao, Wu Tuo looked at Mo Qingyun and said with a smile, "Little brother, you are in a good mood. You are still in the mood to comprehend the formation at this time." Mo Qingyun knew that Wu Tuo's teasing was to find a way out for himself. "I can't compare to Crown Prince Wu Tuo. At this time, I still have the mood to flirt." Mo Qingyun raised his head and glanced indifferently at Wu Tuo as he responded in a cold tone. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Tuo's expression froze, surprise appearing on his face. He had never imagined that an early-stage star domain cultivator would dare to speak to him in such a tone. Seeing Mo Qingyun's behavior, Yao Yu turned his head with interest and said, "This guy is quite bold, to actually mock Wu Tuo like this. I wonder how he will respond. That brat is truly audacious." Isn't he afraid of angering Wu Tuo? I feel that he might not know Wu Tuo's identity. That's why he dares to be so bold. That should be the case. The ignorant are truly fearless. Everyone whispered to each other, looking at Emo Qingyun with disdain. Seeing everyone look in their direction, a red-armored middle-aged man beside Wu Tuo scolded with a displeased expression, "Kid, is this the attitude you should have when speaking to Crown Prince Wu Tuo? Get your ass over here right now and admit your mistake. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. What does the Crown Prince of the Jade Sea Dragon Palace have to do with me?" Emo Qingyun wasn't afraid of the red-armored middle-aged man's scolding. He retorted, "Besides, you people from the Narcissus Galaxy came to the Huafan Galaxy, yet you don't tuck your tails between your legs and behave yourself. How dare you strut around like this? Aren't you afraid of being beaten to death by us?" The situation in the Huafan Galaxy and the Narcissus Galaxy was the same as the Wood Source Galaxy and the Blood Soul Galaxy. The two galaxies had always been at odds with each other. Emo Qingyun's words immediately stirred up hatred between the two galaxies and created some enemies for Wu Tuo. Emo Qingyun thought to himself, Wu Tuo had comprehended two great spatial nomological laws, so his strength was astonishing. It would be best if he could stir up a conflict between the two galaxies and take the opportunity to feel out Wu Tuo's strength. Following Emo Qingyun's words, the people from the Narcissus Galaxy all around released a wave of hostility. Wu Tuo and the others from the Jade Sea Dragon Palace clearly showed some fear when they saw the reactions of the people around them. Although they were strong, they couldn't withstand a group attack from so many people. Wu Tuo smiled at Emo Qingyun when he sensed the surrounding pressure. "Sir, I apologize on behalf of Wu Lin for his disrespect. I don't have any ill intentions. I just want to make friends with you. I'm sorry, but as a cultivator from the Huafan Galaxy, I don't want to make friends with people from the Narcissus Galaxy." Emo Qingyun rejected Wu Tuo's goodwill coldly. He turned to look at Yao Yu and said, "Even if I wanted to make friends with someone, I would make friends with Miss Yao Yu or other allies from the Huafan Galaxy." In Emo Qingyun's opinion, Wu Tuo's so-called making friends was just trying to drag him down. If he made friends with Wu Tuo, he would definitely become the target of public criticism. No matter how good Wu Tuo's patience was, he couldn't help but get angry when he saw Emo Qingyun's attitude. However, it wasn't clear whether he was angry because of Emo Qingyun's disrespect or because Emo Qingyun wanted to make friends with Yao Yu. This brat's guts are really big, to actually oppose Wu Tuo like this. The ignorant are fearless. If he really provokes Wu Tuo, he will definitely regret it. That's not the point. The point is that he just said that he wants to make friends with Miss Yao Yu. In my opinion, he's targeting Wu Tuo to attract Yao Yu's attention. He's really a toad lusting after a swan. How could Yao Yu fancy him? While everyone was surprised by Emo Qingyun's actions, most of them were still disdainful. Hearing that Emo Qingyun wanted to make friends with her, Yao Yu's gaze changed a little. She thought to herself, "This guy is a little rash, but his courage is incomparable. I wonder how strong he is?" With this thought, Yao Yu developed some interest in Emo Qingyun. She said, "Sir, I am indebted to you for your favor. If that's the case, you have to protect Yao Yu a little when fighting for the Starfall Flame." After Yao Yu finished speaking, she winked at Emo Qingyun in an alluring manner. Emo Qingyun didn't respond to Yao Yu's words. He only nodded indifferently. After exchanging a glance with Yao Yu, Emo Qingyun retracted his gaze and turned to look at Wu Tuo. He said, "If there's nothing else, don't bother me anymore. I have to make the best use of my time to comprehend the formation. I don't have time to deal with you." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he continued to flip through the formation scrolls, ignoring Wu Tuo. "You're courting death." Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Wu Tuo was finally enraged. He directly slapped a palm at Emo Qingyun. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's performance had already touched his bottom line. Seeing Wu Tuo attack, everyone's expressions became nervous. They were looking forward to the battle between the two. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.